Hello everybody. Oh, this is the wrong one. Alright, hello everybody. Welcome back into another stream. Hope you're doing well. Let me press the buttons, that way it's not so loud. Maybe just my volume's too high. Alright. Ponyboy, Moth Crab, Happy Hep, Galamoth, Galaxy Dragon. Nice to have all of you in the stream. So, yesterday, we more or less slummed it around Limgrave a bit more. I got my ass kicked quite a bit by the ulcerated tree spirit in the French folk hero's grave, as well as the two grafted scions there. So that took like an hour of my time. And we did everything that we could so far with... I guess I haven't talked to Kenneth Hyde again. Anyway, we went to Fort Heights. We got the Dectus medallion left. We talked to Blythe and Kale. Snapped our fingers. Then we concluded by fighting Darrowell and just kind of came back down to the Weeping Peninsula. So that's kind of where we are for today. And oh yeah, I already did talk to Melina there for that dialogue there. So I have it on tap for us to talk to Irina and then go to the Roundtable Hold. And there's going to be a ton of stuff to go over with all of that. So hope you're all strapped in and ready to go. And Starling and Jay Dixon, welcome back to the stream. Alright. So now we are in Weeping Peninsula, which is why we were able to go to the Roundtable Hold. Because as soon as you leave Limgrave, Melina gives you the offer. I actually don't know if that counts if you go underneath. I don't think Schaefer does count, now that I think about it, but anyway. Put that away.
Hello? Is somebody there? Might I bend your ear for a moment, please? My name is Irina.
She can see under that if she opened her eyes.
To the south. The servants there have rebelled. I can't be sure what it is. My eyesight's been weak since birth, you see. But I swear I heard frightful howling from all over. My good father secreted me out the castle, but decided himself to stay. He says it's his duty. As commander. I fear for father's life. The servants are full wrath, filled with hatred for every one of us. They've since come for every one of the companions I escaped with. They haven't spared a soul. I fear it's no different at Castle Mourn. Please, I implore you, would you mind taking a letter to my father? At the castle, my sole wish is that he escape. Even if his honor should be the price. Please. I just want him to be safe.
So as typical, I will refuse these offers at first if they don't really matter too much.
I understand. I fear some of the castle's servants are still prowling nearby. Do take care on the road. I pray your journey comes to fruition. And if you happen to change your mind, please come to see me again. Hello? Is somebody there? Ah, you're the one from before, aren't you? Please, I implore you, would you mind taking a letter to my father at the castle? My sole wish is that he escape, even if his honor should be the price. Please. I just need him to be safe. Thank you, dearly. Then please, take this.
We get Irina's letter.
Deliver it to my father, who remains in the castle, if you please. Please, if you wouldn't mind, deliver the letter to my father at the castle. He can be stubborn, but I'm sure he'll come around.
So yeah, that's some pretty basic questing stuff that we learn about with the state of Castle Mourn in the south. So let's go ahead and peek at Irina's letter before we deliver it to the father. And the interesting thing is you don't necessarily have to do Edgar stuff to advance the Hyata questline. It's that Irina dies kind of automatically if you talk to her and get the letter and then go to Liurnia more specifically, which is kind of strange, but I kind of like that because it is kind of a pain and a little bit out of the way to go all the way down to Castle Mourn and deal with everything down there. So Irina's letter, what do I need? Alright, this. Letter just to the commander of Castle Mourn. It's a letter given by Irina addressed to her father, the commander of Castle Mourn. Gorgeous silken handkerchief, lightly stained with blood. Words can be made out within. So this is stained with blood. It's interesting. One other thing to note about this handkerchief in particular is that the design on it is the same kind of like goofy bird / lion thing that you can find on the rallying standard of Commander O'Neill rather, in Caelid. And you can also see this in a couple spots in Stormvale, which I think is supposed to relate to the Banished Knights more specifically. And for what it's worth, even Edgar is wearing the Banished Knight outfit, so it just kind of all ties together that way. So Max House Scaleezy, welcome back to the stream. You say she peeking, and she cheats at Heads Up 7-Up, you know it. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much that with Hayata. Before going to Castle Mourn, I guess we can face 2 optional bosses now, and then I'll come back up and deal with the little wandering ghost guy next to the candle tree that I skipped over earlier. So in this general vicinity, we have a bunch of Misbegotten seeming to ransack. I don't want to call it a caravan exactly, but like a wandering merchant type thing that's not part of like the grand caravan. I don't know what to call it. Like one of the abandoned coffins type things. But those dudes don't usually have, like, all those other wagons and whatnot. She beat Elytrion blind? Who is that? I don't know Elytrion or Fatalis. Galamoth said, after she died and you met Hayate, you were very confused. Maybe she was sick? Sure. And I guess you could say that she got cured in a way. By the Misbegottens, right? Oh, Lordy Cabin. Oh, yeah. So there's 2 nighttime bosses in this location. We've got... Oh, wow. That went really far. We've got our Knights Cavalry and a Deathbird further to the south. That's fine. That was not fine. There we go. Thought it was going to get a little bit closer than that. This dude has much shorter range than the other Night Cavalry guy. Because of the flail. Oh, glad I touched that site of grace. Zoink Scoob. Alright, so before encountering the night dude again, I'm just going to talk to this merchant. He doesn't sell the lantern. I believe the lantern seller is on the southwest portion of the Weeping Peninsula.
Buying or selling?
So he sells cookery, cracked pots, a stone sword key. I should probably buy this actually. Oh, a crimson amber medallion, the first tier. This is really big lore. I'll talk about that in a moment. And just the iron scale set. Cool. So, and a light crossbow. Maybe I'll come back and buy that sometime. Oh, and this is where you get the bastard sword, which is a kind of like iconic one that's used by the Raging Wolf armor wielder, wearer, whatever you're going to call it, in a lot of the promo materials. So this is where you get that. I tend to forget where you get a lot of the generic weapons like that. Alright. So, the iron helmet is an iron helmet showing rust on its edges. Cloth covering the mouth and neck provides some resistance to poison and other irritants. And the scale armor is reinforced with small metal scales. The cape covering the shoulders is made with treated rock lizard skin and provides ample protection against fire. And this is what Istvan wears. And we summoned him to help us with the demi-humans in Box Beach Cave. So this dude sells a smithing stone, tier 2. I may as well buy this, because I think I'm done with the tier 1s. Alright, so that's all that. Let's go check our Amber Medallion. And then reset the time. Okay. Crimson Amber Medallion. A medallion with Crimson Amber inlaid boosts maximum HP. The Erdtree's old sap becomes amber, treasured as the most precious of jewels in the Age of Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. A primordial life energy resides inside. So I mentioned this in my most recent video that sap in this context is the same kanji as what's used for tears in things like the flasks of Crimson and Cerulean tears. So these kind of tears can crystallize to become amber, and when you get a crystallized tear, you get these things essentially. So Crimson Crystal Tears, Green Spill Crystal Tears, Spiked Crack Tears, and also potentially whatever is going on with what has been inlaid into these medallions more specifically. And they're all tied into the Age of Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, and all that stuff with abundance. And for what it's worth, they don't technically use the same kanji for primordial here in the Crucible Knight equipment, but it's extremely close. I would need to double check. I think this is Genshi Teki, so it's like, anyway, it's not too important. The language is similar enough that I can't imagine there really being a discernible difference between the thematics of the Crimson Amber medallions and the kind of primordial life that's affiliated with the Crucible. Hey, howdy, nice to see you again. You started with that class 2 for your DLC character? Nice. And Vorb, nice to see you too. And then Galamos says, is it the same word used for the sap sealing the doors in Leyndell? I don't think there's any descriptions which say that the doors of Leyndell are sealed with sap. Are there? Let me look it up. Yeah, at a quick glance, I don't see anything about the Leyndell thing. I think that's just like a community thought. You think it's internally labeled, it's not wax? Okay. So let me look up wax real quick. So we've got... Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything other than the gargoyle stuff and the furled fingers, essentially. Yeah, and Galamoth says, Tarnished Archaeologist popularized the corpse wax idea. There's also the possibility that it could be beeswax or like something similar to that, which it's kind of similar but different. Beeswax is a sealant that we use in real life. It's typically used on like the bottoms of toilets, so that way the water doesn't leak out of a toilet. And it's probably used for other stuff beyond that, but that's the one that I know of, like the one application that I know of specifically. Hey, Mladen Spasek, welcome into the stream. I'm sorry, I probably just butchered your name there. So, corpse wax is used to seal the champions. Well, it's corpse wax of champions that is used to kind of reanimate the Blackblade Kindred gargoyle type things in Leyndell and the Eternal Cities. And some people have wondered whether or not the sealed buildings within Leyndell itself have been sealed with corpse wax or potentially Erdtree sap, apparently. Oh, I'm surprised he missed me. Oh, that was a completely buffered command there. Okay, that was awkward. I whiffed that one. Okay. Let's do this. Surprised it hasn't gotten staggered yet. There we go. I'm out of stamina? Okay, he has like a purple summoning aura, which is kind of reminiscent of what the Erdtree avatars do. This one was purple. I feel like this is Spinal Tap quote, but this one is purple rather than going to 11. There we go. Ash of War, Barricade Shield, and Knight Rider Flail. So this is kind of our first true indicator of what these dudes really are other than their boss title plates. This is a flail with 2 additional bludgeoning heads, weapon of the Knight's Cavalry who ride funeral steeds. The large spikes make it highly effective at inducing blood loss, but also demand higher dexterity to wield. I'm not too worried about the skills on these. Hey howdy, 10 more days indeed. You're trying to combat your ADHD by reading The Hobbit? Honestly, the first time I read The Hobbit was about this time of year. And I was reading it at a cousin's like graduation party, and it was a gift from my aunt to myself. And so I was not really interested in the book at all, because this is way before The Lord of the Rings was like the cultural zeitgeist that it was. And so I kind of begrudgingly read it, and then I got really hooked after they kind of left the Shire. And I actually have a bit of a hot take in that I unironically enjoy the Hobbit book more than the Lord of the Rings trilogy there. Vord saw that recently and forgot that the Knight Rider did the summoning thing. D minor's the saddest of all keys. Is the horse's spirit? It seems kind of similar to Torrent, so I would kind of assume so, if for no other reason than we don't really have like a ton of other viable guesses, I suppose. The Silmarillion looks so daunting. You have it in your bookshelf. I mean, just ease yourself in with The Hobbit. It's truly enjoyable once you get over like the intro section, and just go with what you like. Vord has the Silmarillion, but's been trying to read it since they were like 14. Understandable. We got their Weeping Peninsula map. So we're going to try to deal with the Golem before we deal with the Deathbird. And as we come down throughout the Weeping Peninsula, we still have a ton of fragments of the crumbling Fair Missoula embedded in the rocks everywhere. And it's just so baffling how widespread the crumbling of Fair Missoula truly is. And I forgot to point this out when we were at the Dragon Cathedral in Limgrave, but these kind of like goofy dinosaur-looking things coming out of a pot is very clearly seen in Fair Missoula, which is why I'm confident in claiming that this is from Fair Missoula. And if not Fair Missoula, it's from a place that has the exact same kind of masonry going on as Fair Missoula. Here we go. Sweet. So we get the Golem Greatbow. Not going to read that just yet. I'm going to deal with the Deathbird first. Actually, before I deal with the Deathbird first, I may as well hop on over to this site of grace. Do that extra hop to get a little bit of a extra distance while we're going fast. Galamoth says the Silmarillion reads like the Bible, and then Feanor begat Finwë, who begat Fingolfin. Yeah. This is part of why the Silmarillion is a daunting piece of work, isn't it? Okay, you've already read The Hobbit already? Took you a year, you don't talk about that, and you're reading one of the Ziostorm books now? Nice. Yeah, I kind of forgot that he wrote a book. Are you enjoying it? Or if you'd like to keep that private, that's totally understandable. Oh yeah, and a piece of candy. I should really pay more attention to where all the golden saplings are. Since I don't normally play new characters, I tend to forget just like how important it is to visit them. All right. So as we come up here, we are going to get another Deathbird spawning in. So we're gonna drink because he hit us a little bit, and then this will allow us to do a little bit more charge damage. That was a mistake. I'm not trying to aim at his head. I feel like Deathbirds need another hitbox to lock onto, because they've got the head hitbox, which is great. So when he does that little screech like that, that's an indicator that he's going to do the grab attack. I was out of stamina. Okay, I should probably heal. Ooh, that was painful. Oh, okay. Yeah, holy damage is OP, guys. For at least one enemy. Now we get our cool-ass sacrificial axe. And so we're kind of by another minor Erdtree, but these ones point to the main Erdtree, the tarnished golden sunflowers, that is. So we'll go back to Castle Mourn and look at all of our cool items. Or maybe I should do a detour to Messmer's catacombs before that. Yeah, I guess I'll do that. Okay. Actually, now that I think about it, we'll detour a little bit more. Galama says, if Ziostorm's books don't start with, "Hey, what's going on, guys?" it's not worth it. That'd be unironically hilarious. Yeah, it's one of the bosses where the lock-on is a hindrance. A little bit. It can be good, especially if you're a caster and you're casting spells at its face. But otherwise, it can be pretty rough. Now, I don't remember the puzzle for this one exactly. Seek 3 wise beasts. I remember there being the turtle in the water. But I just forget like how far away some of them are. I don't remember if they're met sequentially or not. Uh-oh. Alright. Thin beast bones. Is that a site of grace? Yes, I saw the turtle. Oh, why am I not charging? There we go. One wise beast down. Howdy's enjoying the book so far. It's called Night of the Red Sky. The questions he leaves lingering in the plot you're liking so far. He said countless times he doesn't like it because he had no idea what he was doing when writing it. That's great. First books tend to be like that a little bit. So I did like this little puzzle, even though it was super annoying, because you get the little visual indicator that the turtle is in the water. But some of the later turtles are a bit rough. Like, I think the way that I finished the... Oh, damn it. Uh-oh. The way that I finished the... What's it called? The Moonlight Altar one... I think was more of a glitch because I don't think it worked properly at the time I was playing it. This will be way faster to do. Galaxy Dragon says, you know, across 6 playthroughs, they've only ever fought the Deathrite bird near Castle Sol. You were just never in the right place. To be fair, that's the only one which spawns regardless of the time of day, I think. Or maybe that's the Snowfield one. Wait, where am I going? So I don't blame you. I do wish there were more like daytime exclusive bosses, or if you could customize the time in which you wake up after a death. Because there's almost no incentivization to travel during the day, other than just trying to avoid bats. But, I mean, you're just going to miss out on some bosses by doing that, so it's not the best of plans, I suppose. Because of the type of player that I am, I naturally try to explore everywhere that I can and cannot go. So I definitely found this item on my first playthrough. We got our warming stone, and more importantly, the Great Turtle Shell. Which says, along with our other items, that this is a shield fashioned from a great turtle shell. The natural curve helps it contend with foes' attacks. The turtle is a symbol of tirelessness, and this shield boosts stamina recovery speed. And this is one of the few skills that I will read. It says Barricade Shield. Skill made famous by Sir Neidhart. Focus your energy into the shield, temporarily hardening it to deflect greater blows. So we have no idea who Sir Neidhart is. Maybe he'll show up in the DLC. I doubt it, but it would be kind of cool if we do get that recurring guy there. Now, what else did we pick up? The Golem, Great Bow, and the Axe. This is a great bow of black stone crafted by a civilization now gone to ruin. Weapon of the Guardian Golem. Extremely heavy, this great bow requires enormous strength just to draw, suggesting it was not designed for human use. And because this great bow does say that it comes from like a black stone, that tends to be the kind of community name given to the types of ruins which are gigantic and made of black stones. So we tend to believe that the crafters of the golems and the black stone ruins are the same people, I suppose. I'm supposed to use the spirit spring to get up here? Oh well. So the sacrificial axe says this is a hatchet used in ancient sacrificial rite. A deathbird is depicted as a malevolent deity. The power of the rite yet lingers. A small amount of FP is restored upon slaying a foe. So... This is kind of a goofy looking axe because if you look at the right side at the handle, the haft, whatever you want to call it, it is a goofy looking bird that has its mouth open where you see the blade and maybe wings on the backside. I can't exactly tell what that's supposed to be, but it's just one of the goofiest looking weapons in the game. Has some pretty cool lore, but is a little bit unimpactful to me overall. The messages that say try night are very helpful. That's probably fair. Because I tend to play offline because I don't like having all the specters running around and ruining my footage. I just kind of had to go discover them the hard way. So we need our third wise beast. Oh yeah, these things are going to be back. So there was a side of grace over here. I really feel like, and sometimes there's almost too many sides of grace. I wish there were like more reasons to just not run past everything in the overworld, although that's probably like a double-edged sword, because if I couldn't just run past everything, it might become more tedious on subsequent playthroughs. But yeah, I guess I haven't picked up a celestial starlight shard yet. I always forget what this last turtle is. I need to use the power of my eyes, which, that's not cool. Alright, we're gonna read chats, and then use my eyes, maybe. Hey, Worm Archives and Fresh Ronin, nice to have you in the stream. Our Crusader, Enter Y, Save Frog, welcome on back. Worm says, the fighting the bell-bearing countries is annoying for that reason alone. We cannot be bothered to fast travel away, pass time, and come back. Yeah. And then Fresh Ronin says, one of the best greatswords comes from a Deathbird, the one in Caelid near Gallery. Yeah, the Deathrite poker is extremely strong. Didn't they nerf that, actually? You got some really cool gifts, Howdy, for your birthday. I'm a little bit jealous. Enter Y says, FromSoft always drops names of the games that you see once and never again. You might think it mattered, but it never does. No. We'll get that Velka lore with the Londor DLC. You'll all see. All of our questions will be answered. Where is our turtle? Say Frog just got the Lord of Chaos ending for the first time. Nice. Chaos has taken the world for you, huh? How do you feel about that? Do you think Miyazaki will teach his kid to carry his legacy by making the next Dark Souls? I doubt it. We've got Yui Tanimura, and I guess Kitao doesn't direct, does he? He seems to be trying to grow the company to work without him, so who knows? All right, little turtle. Do I need to interact with the thing again? Probably. Because I thought one was like in this spot. Didn't think it was this far away from the rise. What is this? Oh, must have just been a skull. So we got Starlight Shards, but I might not read them until like we look at other stuff like Celestial do. The funny thing is I probably got the hardest to find turtle before this one, which is probably a bit more obvious. The next 10 days are going to be the longest in Howdy's life. Just try your best to distract yourself. Oh, here it is. I thought it was like hidden in the bushes. I just didn't realize it was this close to the door. I thought it was a little bit further. Why? Oh, I need to get rid of that. It's kind of annoying that that dialogue box made it so I couldn't swing my weapon. Happy feels like it was 10 days ago, 2 days ago. All right. So this is our first rise. I was not paying attention to which one this is. Does the map say? Oridis. I haven't really looked into the etymology of this name, I don't believe. Anyway, as we enter the rises, we get these statues of what I call like the the primeval current statues. And the only reason why I say that is because they have these aprons on, which have the same design as the banner that you can find in Raya Lucaria and on the robes of Masters Lusat and Azur, who studied the primeval current. And there's not like a better name for them, I suppose. You could probably just say the ancient Raya Lucarian statue, I guess, but I feel like primeval current works just as well because all of that stuff kind of ties into the study of glintstone sorcery, I guess. But anyway, most of the rises, I think, tend to have black memory stones, which is going to be a pretty minor yet somewhat important item for the lore. So memory stones increase memory slots, and they are a black, lightly beguiling stone, prized by the sorcerers who produce them. Said to be a fragment of the black moon that once hung above the eternal city. So I don't entirely know what to make of this, because I do treat hearsay that doesn't have like a lot of reason to doubt it a little bit as kind of being a value regardless. So if we take this description at face value, that there was a black moon that once hung above the eternal city, we need to ask ourselves, is this a black moon that hung on over the eternal cities underground, or were the eternal cities above ground with this moon in the sky? Was this moon shattered? If so, how? I do like that it says that this is a lightly beguiling stone, which could be tied to how the moon guides the stars, I suppose. And another noteworthy thing about these stones is that they're memory stones, and so there's some kind of weird link between memories and at least the black moon, and that's a little bit vexing to me because a lot of other memory stuff seems to be tied to gold rather than the stars. So I don't entirely know what to make of all these connections, to be honest. Hey Joe Mac, welcome into the stream, and Pigsy, nice to see you again. Pigsy says, being a fragment of the Black Moon is pretty interesting, like the Nox lost their Black Moon, must have saved fragments and put them in towers. And to build off that point, we do need to question whether these towers were built by the Nox or a civilization which postdated the banishment of the Nox, I suppose. But I feel like no matter what you feel about that, the fact that we have all these kind of somewhat black stone rises on every continent indicates that we had astrologers throughout the entire world in places which the Erdtree and the forces of the Golden Order would go to conquer later, which is kind of interesting. And then some of these are going to be converted in Liurnia to worshipping America, which would imply that all of this stuff right here should predate America potentially. So if that's the case, it does seem more likely that these should belong to the Nox or a culture/civilization adjacent to the Nox. And Pixie thinks that the Black Moon was underground, but we can't be sure. Yeah, I've wondered whether or not the Black Rune is unironically one of the kind of gigantic silvery type balls which can be teleported in to places like Nokron, Noxtella, and Raya Lucaria, and also like the random traps in Caelid for whatever reason. And then Enter Y says, the Black Moon was shattered like the Elden Ring. The sky in the underground looks shattered. So I never thought about the sky being shattered underground, because we're at least told that it was stolen by Estelle, potentially. And then Fresh Ronin asks, was the Black Moon not shattered when they were exiled, when Estelle stole the sky? We don't actually know, and I'm of the opinion that when Estelle struck the Eternal Cities and leveled it with its meteorites, that it was after they had already been banished underground, which is a tiny bit clearer in the Japanese, because the Nox had to have already been in a state of despair for their encounter with Estelle, if you believe there's supposed to be a tie to the Eternal Darkness spell at Estelle, the spawn of darkness. Alright, so for whatever reason, I just kind of like this goofy spot where we get a bunch of star callers. surrounding what is going to be... I can't remember the difference between Alabaster and Onyx Lords other than the colors. So I don't remember which one this was. And one thing which also intrigues me about the Star Callers, I don't think this is necessarily the same symbol by any means, but the T-pose kind of reminds me of Radagon doing a Golden Order Totality or Gold Mask. But it is different because the palms are like facing forward as opposed to extending completely flat to the sides there. And then Cold Dash, welcome back. You think it's not a true moon, hence it's beguiling. Do you think that Renala's moon is also not a true moon then? Not just the spell, but the things she would have encountered perhaps beforehand? Well, cool, our first golden-eyed enemy. So this can happen occasionally, that you'll encounter an enemy that's a little bit souped up to its normal counterparts, and it'll have golden eyes. The funny thing is you can have this happen to things like land octopi. Miranda flowers are especially funny. And so these dudes wield the gravity magic and everything. Alright, so this looks like an Onyx Lord. This is a little bit darker. And so these dudes wield gravity magic. And I honestly don't know how to beat them if you're not using a heavier type sword, because they are just completely weak to this staggery type stuff. So I imagine they're probably a bit more problematic if you have a lighter weapon. Actually, let's look at the belt. I was wondering if there's any similarities to like Rykard stuff. I feel like we've seen stuff like this on other things, but maybe not. I wouldn't necessarily say that he had golden eyes, but they're like a little bit yellowy. And we didn't pick anything up from him, did we? No. So yeah, we've also got like a bunch of fallen meteors, and I wonder if these fallen meteorites had a role to play in the Onyx or Alabaster Lord, whichever he is. I'm pretty sure it's an Onyx Lord. If in like his appearance here. And so maybe these kind of meteorites in general can connect to other planes, which are connected to like the deepest recesses of space. But that's just kind of a tinfoil theory there. Yeah, and Pixie says, we get one of these dudes overlooking the Lake of Rot near the ceiling Estelle thing. I guess it is kind of by Estelle, if you think about it. But yeah, aside from the Onyx Lord right there, you also get a ton of Falling Star Beasts by similar types of meteorites. How did I whiff that? Anyway. So I do think that there is that possibility to have that kind of like magical connection between them all. Sweet, a stone sword key. Right, so this will tell us to go to Mesmer's catacombs. And I think this is a statue of Rosis. I'm confident it is, but anyway. Guide and cake key for those returning to the roots. And this is a little bit weird because the catacombs in general are really awkward to place into the timeline because Erdtree watchdogs like use glintstone, but was glintstone not really used until the accord with Ray Lucaria? Was that after the fact? The Rosa statues tend to use Erdtree worship insignias when you go underground and try to cast light on things. Ooh, a great dragonfly head. Anyway, that's like not too important in the grand scheme of things here. The main takeaway is the catacombs seem simultaneously younger and older than the start of America's regime. Get me out of here. Alright, howdy, you have a good night, and thanks for dropping in as always. And then, Paisan, nice to see you. And Deadma, welcome to the stream. Do I know Sinclair lore? Yes, and Sophie's theory that Leyndell is a crater. I'm assuming, I don't know if I'm thinking of the exact same theory or the theory in the same way, but yes, I've definitely heard the theory that Leyndell would be kind of built on the crater of where the golden meteorite may have fallen. So, yes. I've also been on their podcast before. Ooh boy, we got a Grey Violet. Lots of fun to talk about with that one. I should probably rest, because I think I used a thing. I don't know if that... Pigsy never thought about that. The hero's grave and the mountaintops have watchdogs. They use cold magic, maybe glintstone too. Yeah, so I'll have more to talk about when we have like more relevant stuff to the catacombs themselves, because it's just kind of easy to forget everything without the proper lead up. But I am also really thirsty, so after I kill these imps, I'm just gonna hydrate for a moment. If I was smart, I would have like gone back to the Roundtable Hold and use that opportunity to drink while everybody's talking at the Tarnished. Alright, so this is one of the coolest parts of all of the catacombs, when you walk in and look at the doors. So it's really dark, especially for you guys. Hold on, let me try to craft something real quick then. No, I need Dew-Kissed Herba. Do I have a glowstone? I have a warming stone. This is good enough. Oh, wait, no idea. Sweet. When you walk into the catacombs and check out the main door to like the main boss areas, you will see a depiction of what many people would assume to be the Erdtree for good reason. And at the top of it, it looks like you have spectrally spirits, ghost people, bodies coming out of the branches potentially, which is why some people think that there's like a literal Erdtree burial and birth going on with the Erdtree. Although I don't really like that theory for a lot of reasons, but I just cope by saying that being restored by the site of grace might essentially be the exact same thing as Erdtree birth. But anyway, at the base of the tree engraving, you've got what is presumably skulls and pustules, which relate to the way that people get absorbed into the roots via their bodies, and like some robed figures and whatnot. And then of course, adjacent to the doors, we've got our skeletal statues, which represent death. So yeah, not too much else other than that. Alright, so let me go ahead and hydrate real quick. One-star rating. Welcome back to the chat. Have I heard of floral diagrams? I don't think so, but maybe I have. And why? Is there something you want to tie that into? And then Black Man, nice to see you again. How is Kitetail's stream? I managed to like lurk in it a little bit briefly, but I only noticed it up like about 2 hours ago, and I had to like prep for stream. I couldn't really stay there too long at all. I also saw Ratatosker streaming Jack and Daxter earlier today, which is really fun. Apparently he really likes the game and he'd never played it before, which kind of just tickles the child in me, because it's one of my favorite PS2 titles. So it's kind of nice to see that it does stand up to the test of time to people who never played it originally. So yeah, we got Grey Violets and a bunch of other stuff, and we got a gank. We got ganked. Grave Glovewort tier 2. I don't think I read the first tier now that I think about it. Anyway. Pixie says, that looks like the older depictions of the Erdtree that we see pre-Radagon. So I know Tarnished archaeologists popularized the theory of there being two depictions of the Erdtree, but I kind of disagree with a lot of those assessments for a variety of reasons. And if I looked back at those claims, I would address them more directly right now, but I don't exactly remember entirely. Yeah, so this catacomb really messed me up for a while because I knew that there was more to explore, but I had no idea how to do it. Because when I looked down here, I wasn't online, and it just looks like one of those super death drops, so I didn't think anything of it. But no, there's more to explore down there. I guess I'll do that now. So this is one of my bigger complaints about the game and this area most specifically. This spot and the Fringe Folk Heroes Graves, I felt like were the two worst offenders. But there really weren't too many other ones beyond these two examples that I can recall. So, I don't exactly know what the deal is with these putrid, rotting corpses, because they're undead people, but they're not those who live in death. They don't respawn. Their bodies are kind of covered with maggots and whatnot. Ooh, a prattling paste. Please help. So they're like undead, but not those who live in death. So maybe they just weren't touched by death roots and all that. Which could just go on to show the horrors of what happens in a land that has had death removed from it, perhaps. Oh, sweet. We got our root resin. Sweet. A lot of fun items to get from a catacomb. Oh no, I think I remember what's at the end of this catacomb. I got grabbed. Damn, I did not realize how many spawned up behind me. I don't know what these drop. I'm assuming like a human bone shard. Oh, do these things just keep popping up? Technically, they're all different enemies, but... wait, where did the item go? Actually, I wonder... Okay, yeah, no, they just keep spawning. Zoinks. That's what I thought. Black Man had several revelations. Nice. I'll probably try to check out the VOD or something at double speed. Doing chores someday. Fresh Ronin says, maybe the runes have to go back to the trees so they can manifest as new births or animate those who see grace, which may be the same difference. So I tend to think that the tree would take in the memories of those who died and become like part of the tree, and maybe it can distill those memories back into... Oh, I need to get rid of the stupid dialogue. That's annoying. So I think it might distill memories into the tree and away from it, perhaps? Because our starting item in the game is called the Memory of First Grace, rather than just like First Grace itself or something like that. Okay. I'm just going to try to deal with the boss and not have to run back down and deal with the little imps. What if they're just really old? I'm not sure. Floral diagrams have arcs. Paisan watched Ratatosker play Prince of Persia Sands of Time the other day. That was so awesome. Much nostalgia. I thought he said it was okay, but it had like a couple issues, but I don't remember. The crabs ate the item? Okay, okay. I was afraid... I need to play better. I should have rolled better. Yeah, so this is kind of a terrible catacomb to walk into like this. For the boss, at least. I really kind of hate fighting the Erdtree Burial Watchdogs. Because some of their attacks are just a little bit hard to read. Like that one, I tried dodging. I'm just going to say that was my fault for being too slow on it. Rather than blaming the input lag. And I should have gone on his back, punished him there. Oh yeah, I can do this. I don't know if these things are weak to holy damage. So even though I do kind of hate the Erdtree Burial Watchdogs, it's because they're strong enemies, essentially, and kind of hard to deal with. That, and they also just kind of get reused a lot in kind of annoying ways. Yeah, Nemo, I was watching him play a little bit of a Jack and Daxter here and there. Ooh, an imp head for the cat style. One Star says, there are no new childbirths for humans in any of these games, especially Elden Ring. They're recycled instead. It's the same tree being planted to give the same shade to the same people forever, maybe. So, I know you very cleverly mentioned that it was human birth specifically, but I do wonder how much birth has been impacted, because at least there are some kind of pseudo-births, whether done by Hideous Rite or not, with potentially Raya and the Albinaurics, but you're kind of right, though. Happy Hep says, the Watchdogs were the first boss you killed, the ones in the mountaintops you skip. I think that the Erdtree Burial Watchdog might have been the first boss I killed after both the Grafted Scion and, what's it called? The Tree Sentinel. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Just the range of that. Did I pick up my runes? I think I did. I don't think I have crystal darts to cheese this a little bit. Oh, wait. I don't need crystal darts. I can cheat. I forget this is an option sometimes. How did that miss? Hey, look, a forked hatchet. Kalma says, does anyone happen to need 17 man-serpent shields? And then somebody was asking if you're farming for the sword or the whip. And then Galamoth asks, you can get the whip? Yes, if you kill the one specific dude that has it. Alright, so let's go ahead and cheat. Like I said I should. Oh lordy, coming! Run! This jerk. I was afraid that I was going to come out of the iframe into a death, which is exactly what happened. I was a little bit hectic and frantic. Whatever, we'll refine that approach. Where's the other one? YOLO. Yeah, I actually farmed out 2 of every item manually, except for a couple that I needed an extra new game plus cycle for. I just had somebody dupe me my own items because I was not about to go through all of that again. Not the fire! Not the fire! Come on, bro. Okay, sweet. At least I have one little dude left. I'm gonna wait for my guy to come back up. Oh, at least he didn't one-shot me that time. Didn't realize he was going to spin that fast. I'm not trying to lock on to him. Not no more. Oh no, my guy's gone. Alright, now we've got a chance. But for real. Yeah, part of the thing about the watchdogs is that their recovery time is extremely short. How much damage and how quick some of these attacks come out. Like this one right there is pretty rough. And you can't even like really visceral them. Demi-human ashes. These are actually pretty cool for lore purposes, so I don't really mind coming into Mesmer's Catacombs. And I should probably explain my stupid running joke of why I'm calling this Mesmer's Catacombs specifically. You may have noticed when I first came in here, but it would have been very easy to miss, that these are specifically called the Impaler's Catacombs, and since Mesmer is the Impaler, it's just kind of a meme to say that these catacombs belong or are affiliated with him specifically. So anyway, now that we made all that detour just to check what's going on here, because I figured this would be DLC relevant, even though it's mostly not, we could at least say that we did it for our DLC prep. We can go back to Castle Mourn and do all the things over here. Alright, so now that we did all that, let's go check out some of those cool materials that we got. Floorgeborge, nice to see you again. You missed some items in your first run. You're still recovering from the lack of the Onyx Lord sword. Understandable. Paisan says, farming in this game's a nightmare. Those 1 and 2% drop rates are terrible. Not only is it the 1 and 2% drop rates, but they do it on some of the rarest enemies in the entire game. It's infuriating. Hey, Eric Williams, nice to see you again. Yeah, I play HUDless for like my lore playthroughs typically. You never fought one of these guys? That's wild. You did manage to get the Fire Monk's Curve Sword your first try? So real talk, because I was playing the game blind, when I got to the Kayla Divine Tower and I saw those monks with their cool ass swords, I was like, okay, those swords look amazing, I'm gonna get one. And so I probably spent 3 hours trying to farm their weapon drops, only to find out later that they don't even have those as droppable items in their loot tables, which is really infuriating. Yeah, farming the Falconers for the Sunlight Medals in Dark Souls 2 is terrible, yeah. So Eric asks, is Shadow of the Erdtree coming from any of George R.R. Martin's ideas, or is it all from FromSoft? So from Miyazaki's interview, they still had materials that were given to them by George R.R. Martin, which they didn't fully explore in the base game, which are still going to have influenced the shaping of the world of Shadow of the Erdtree. Yeah, no problem. You're welcome. Okay. So here we go. Hey, Mortis, nice to see you. That Exotica mission was annoying, but now you can farm the class items. So do you have to, nah, I'll just leave this alone. This will not important for stream, but thanks. Welcome back into the stream. What don't I think will be in the DLC? Probably things directly relating to the other games like Bloodborne or all that. Alright. Grey violets are a purple flower that blooms in graveyards, material used for crafting items. The hue of ghost flame, it's believed to be useful in calling forth spirits. So this is one of my favorite items in the game, even though it's wrong, unfortunately. I just kind of took this at face value for a really, really long time, like a year before I actually paid attention to the Japanese. So the English here says it's the hue of ghost flame, which implies that ghost flame is or should have been violet. Unfortunately, the Japanese just says it is the flower of ghost flame, and it doesn't necessarily say that the flower's color is that of ghost flame. So, it's a bit of a shame because I really like the idea that ghost flame could have been purple in the past, because then we could have said something may have happened to alter the nature of ghost flame, which might still be true, but we just don't really have as strong evidence for such claims now. And also in the 1.0 version of Elden Ring, when you fought Malekith, he would occasionally use purple imbued flames with his Destined Death attacks in his second phase boss fight, although those assets have been changed to become gold in the retail builds of the game. So yeah, that's one of my favorite items. Oh boy, am I ready for this? No, okay, I'm going to hold off on root resin until I get the Prince of Death pustule. And I guess we did get some of the spirit ashes. So, ashen remains in which spirits yet dwell, used to summon the spirits of 5 demi-humans. Spirits of demi-humans that are small in stature but have a violent, brutish disposition. Though they seem somewhat intelligent, when night falls, their blood boils and they become feral. So, the idea of... oh yeah, I should probably level up. The idea of intelligence kind of being linked to daylight is hinted at with the demi-human spirit ashes here, which is kind of important to note because the sun never sets in Fair Missoula, and that's kind of like where the Beastmen resided. But conversely, it could also potentially be a night thing rather than a sun and daylight thing, but we also are told in the Cinque Dea that the Greater Will conferred beasts intelligence, potentially through 5 fingers, in the Japanese at least, but it's a bit ambiguous if it literally means like a 5 fingers or whether or not the 5 fingers does represent the beast's intelligence specifically. I know I didn't phrase that super well, but oh well. As we come into Castle Mourn, we can see a heap and stack of corpses that are kind of being lorded over by a ton of celebrating Misbegotten. So we got some smoldering butterflies. I guess these things don't pray after all. I thought some of them did. I guess this is more of a cheering thing than a praying thing. So we also got a bunch of mongrels and a bunch of people hanging from the top of the castle. So I'm pretty confident there really isn't much interesting treasure in the room to the right, but with this being a lore playthrough, I'm just going to go through regardless and regret my decisions. Fire grease. I think there's another dude waiting on us on the inside. Okay. Maybe I'm wrong. Ooh, a Claymore. So it's kind of a good item, but I don't really pay too much attention to it because it doesn't have much in the way of flavor text. So I do like stuff like this, where you've got like the interfactional conflicts on display. But that was kind of garbage. I should have gotten hit. So we've got 2 ways to go. I typically go up because it's easier to come back down from a higher location than vice versa. Hey, Mr. Yada and Stella, nice to see you again. Eric Williams said, you always thought the old Hunter stuff was well understood and developed even at launch, but they cut it out and it fit perfectly as the DLC. So, yes and no. At least as far as Jura is concerned, he was called a retired Hunter in the base game, but the term used for that was actually Old Hunter in Japanese. I don't know why they went with retired, so it's a little bit unfortunate that it isn't quite as clear, even though contextually it's pretty well understood that all hunters who preceded the good hunter would have been old hunters themselves. It's just kind of weird to me that such an inconsistency arose. Obviously the Jura thing was pre-Old Hunter DLC, but sometimes a spade is a spade, a cigar is a cigar, and old is old. Oh no. Oh no. That's... Okay, I was going to say that's the mouth that I eat with. So we got a steel wire torch. And then Forgeboards thinks some of the lore may be less accurate when translated back to Japanese, as you doubt George R.R. Martin wrote it in Japanese. So there's kind of 2 ways we could address this, in that George R.R. Martin may have wrote the back ethos or mythos to the series, but I feel like a lot of the flavor text would still come from Software, just because of how much it aligns with the content of their prior games. But anyway, I guess I should have gone down first. This brings us back to where we'll go to meet Edgar. Although I guess this way is kind of easier to deal with than the other one. Guess it doesn't really matter. Anyway, I'm going to go back down to that room. But anyway, I do think that you're right that there might have been some things lost in translation from George R.R. Martin's story to the From Software team. I think that is a possibility. But at the end of the day, we're kind of working with what the devs have given us. And that, I would argue, comes in Japanese first. Right, so there's nothing here. Okay. I just don't remember where this comes out to. Oh, I just got turned around? I thought there was another door. Okay. Okay, I see what I did wrong. Okay. So it is all recursive here. Galamoth doesn't believe the Glow-Eyed Queen will be relevant to the DLC. I'll be a little bit sad if we don't. That's a lie. I'll be big sad if we don't get some Glow-Eyed Queen lore. Maybe the character herself might not be relevant, but I at the very least want a few more lore tidbits to go along with her. I was last seen being chased out of town by angry Claymore mains. What, all 3 of them? Alright, you can try to invade me with your Claymore if you want. I accept the challenge. As long as it's like at +3 like my weapons are. Old Fang. Man, I do not want to go on that tangent either. I shouldn't really be fighting these things. They're not really worth it. What's my HP at right now? Okay. It's better than I expected, to be honest. And then, hey, Ryushun, what about Godwin lore? Actually, that's a good one. I kind of don't expect there to really be Godwin lore in the DLC, believe it or not. Dude, I wish this connected back in properly, because I think it's such garbage that this side of Grace doesn't connect to this wall. Alright, so I'm just going to ignore the mobs up here and then talk to Edgar. And the reason why I call him Edgar is because of a Men in Black joke. Oh man, they already killed all the soldier dudes. Because they usually don't take this long to come see him. I just realized that I actually do have a way to deal with the Winged Misbegotten because I have Sacred Blade equipped. Hey, an Iron Cleaver. That'll be nice to have as a reference item. Alright.
There's a face I've not seen before. I'm Edgar, warden of this castle, as ordained by Lord Godric himself. But you can see how things have turned out. The menials have all rebelled. They gave me good service, or so I thought. But it seems it was all an act. Foul creatures, as it said, and true enough, they're foul inside and out. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but whatever you come here to do, I'm afraid Castle Mourn won't hold much longer. Take this, by way of apology.
Sacrificial twig. Don't give her the letter. Don't give him the letter. So nothing happens.
Now then, away with you. You've no reason to risk your neck dawdling here, eh? I see. From Irina. Thank you. I'm in your debt. But I can't leave yet. Even if the castle should fall, as commander I must remain, to ensure the treasured sword of Mourn does not fall into the wrong hands. If you see Irina, do tell her that her father will come for her once he's fulfilled his duty. If you see Irina, do tell her that her father will...
So I'm trying to remember whether or not we can report on the status of Irina to him now or whatnot. Anyway. Pigsy wonders if we'll visit the massive bodies in the story trailer. And Deadma asks, what's my opinion on the vulgar militia? Do they have any play or importance? So they're kind of really strange because it seems like in some ways they kind of really remind me of the Slave Knights from Dark Souls 3, where they may have had a really big role in history, but because of their diminutive stature, they're just kind of overlooked. And I don't know what to make of them beyond that. It feels like there could have been a lot more to them, but they've been pushed aside to the fringes and whatnot. I'd also really like a lot more of the Bat People lore, but I kind of don't expect it to get anything relating to that. So it looks like Irina's icon has disappeared, so she's been effectively gotten got. And then Galamoth says, isn't the only thing known about the vulgar militia is that everyone hates them because they're short? Kind of. But for what it's worth, the vulgar militiamen do kind of wield destined death in some of their attacks. I don't remember if they reduce max HP. I guess we could go check that out. Like, next. Right now. Alright. Hey guys. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. She's dead. So, Irina may have been got by a Misbegotten. And the reason why we can say that is we just picked up the Iron Cleaver, which says, it's a fairly large iron cleaver commonly used by the maltreated Misbegotten. Steeped in resentment, these weapons are swung wildly and relentlessly, often after rushing up to foes. Actually, now that I think about it, we do see a random shade dude in the first trailer that wields the Iron Cleaver. Maybe he could have come in from the Shadowlands and murked Irina. Huh. Actually, unironically, what if there is something to that kind of crackpot theory right there? Could Hayata and Shibiri have been in the Shadowlands? Is that like, can they infiltrate people's bodies from the Shadowlands? Anyway, I wanted to get that dialogue box to appear so that way we could talk to Edgar. Because I think you can tell him that Irina's dead. And he, like, gets sad. Otherwise, you just need to finish Castle Mourn and he sees her for himself. I just don't remember if there's that variety with what I'm doing right now that I wanted to double check. Hey, Chadwick. Nice to see you again. Everyone hates everything that's too short. Milosh, the giant, Bach. Oh, you mean Milos. She's dead, Jim. Everybody's dead, Jim. Just the ones near Garank and the Forbidden Lands. I guess I would need to double check the Erdtree passage pygmy dudes to see if they use Destined Death. I don't remember if they reduce max HP. I know I've checked it out before, and I probably have the results saved somewhere, but I'm forgetful a little bit. Iron Cleaver is a good weapon, a bit boring besides the awesome R2. The nice thing about these boring weapons, and probably one of the best things about the combat in Elden Ring in general, is how flexible it allows people to be with the generic weapons with the Ashes of War. So big kudos to FromSoft for that. Hey Hilko, nice to see you again. He has a whole quest chain where he succumbs to Frenzied Flame and eats people. I don't know if he actually eats people, although I do think there is a very strong possibility of that, because I think in the Mount Gelmir region, all of the Lanedell Knights, which have like the Frenzy Flame type effect, seem to be cannibalizing the dead. And I think that might have also happened with like the nomadic merchants a bit. Okay, so our big boy Edgar is gone. So I should have completed the Castle Mourn stuff first. Oh, yeah. No, I should have definitely completed this Castle Mourn stuff first, because he gives us like a +7 Banished Knight Halberd or something crazy like that. If you do the thing properly. Let's not try to do that. Kind of hoping that they drop a bow or something like that. Oh, he's not coming down. He just doesn't care. Oh, there he is. How many toes do they have? That's not the right button. 5. So this is kind of like 4 and the weird dog-like extra appendage, I suppose. What's that glowing gold thing? Oh, somebody else must have just died. This is Castle Mourn. Okay. We're going to rest up here. Well, not rest up here, but we're going to teleport back to Irina now that Edgar is gone. And get a little bit of this lore, I think. Paisan says 300 Ashes of War and you keep using Wild Strikes and Lion's Claw. Shake your head. This just kind of reminds me of all the jokes of like the early 90s into the 2000s of like getting satellite television for the first time, having over 300 channels, but still having nothing good to watch. Okay, so I guess we need to finish up the Castle Mourn stuff before Edgar reappears. Hey Nightmare, nice to see you again. You think the Revenger's Shack implies he eats people? Yeah, because the raw dumplings don't appear there until after he's there, so I definitely get where you're going with that. But my question is, like, why the sudden change into cannibalism? Is that his way of getting back at the Misbegotten, specifically? What's the logic behind it? So I'm not, like, criticizing you, I'm just, like, wondering out loud. Oh yeah, and so Castle Mourn has some of the beast gel things. I wonder if I should buff to holy damage. Oh my god. Finally. Pickled turtleneck. So here we get one of the really important ghost NPCs, which says, "Please help me. I'm of noble blood. If those hideous mongrels eat me, I'll be forever marred. Anything but that. Please, think of the disgrace." So, it seems like if somebody dies a horrific death that's filled with regret, they end up becoming cursed. So I don't necessarily know whether or not the Misbegotten eating things curses them implicitly, or if it's this dude's revulsion at being eaten specifically, which keeps him in his like ghost spectral form, beyond the whole aspect of like death not being a true death anymore in the lands between. Is his summon stein still there? Oh, Edgar for the Misbegotten Leonine? I'm not sure. I kind of assumed that it would be, now that you mention it. D&D Hydrate, nice to see you again. Could just be an indicator of general madness that he's got all these raw dumplings. Stella says, now it's 5 million things on streaming and you can't decide what to watch from your extensive watch list. Yeah. I feel that. I was recently like trying to look at something to watch on Amazon, and I was just like not really enthused by what I was seeing. So the struggle is real. So that's just a glowing thing. So I think over here we're going to get a red scarab to the left down there. And honestly, the design of Castle Mourn bothers me because it doesn't make sense from like a practical standpoint, even by FromSoft standards. Like, how are people from the beach supposed to get up to the top of the place? And this not being able to climb back up to where Edgar was from the second side of Grace just irritates me as well. Hey, Platypus Practicus, nice to see you again. Why is being eaten such a disgrace? Is that because they can't be returned to the Erdtree? I think it's because, like, nobles don't want to be touched by the defiled, and the Misbegotten are considered, like, maybe not cursed, but they're certainly reviled for many reasons. And nobles don't want to be touched by the impure things, and so that would be my guess. And I think just the idea of being filled with negative emotions essentially curses things works really well in Elden Ring, even though it's essentially just a really... the hell? Oh, it's because I killed the thing up there. I think it works in Elden Ring, even though it's like a really Japanese concept that ghosts are essentially the lingering spirits of the dead who could not pass on peacefully. Alright, so we got our flasks back, which isn't really that big a deal because there's a lot of sites of grace in this game. Tarnished golden sunflower. You're still watching Dragon Ball Z Abridged on YouTube 8 years later, despite 5 million things to stream. Florgeboard says, fun fact, eating human flesh can be addictive and actively eats away at the brain via the creation of prions. Yes. When you were saying that, it just made me think of that episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where Frank tricks Dee and Charlie into thinking that they ate human flesh because he was trying to teach them into a lesson of like leaving the meat in his freezer alone. But he gave them a like worm-infested slab of like cocoon or raccoon flesh, I think. Anyway, cannibalism, y'all. Oh, I was that low on HP? Okay. Did I get hit by the Misbegotten? Maybe I took a little bit of fall damage. I don't know. I can just speed run back. Now that I'm not exploring everything. Hey Meow Laser, nice to see you again. My man's had the jellyfish shield. Alright, so Ponyboy's reading is that with death being removed, being integrated into a Misbegotten via ingestion would prevent his essence from returning to the Erdtree ever, because his body would no longer exist to return to the Erdtree. I've wondered stuff like that as well. I think it's probably more of the case for something like a snake, which eats something whole, rather than the Misbegotten. Although that idea in general is just kind of like annoying to think about. It's like, why is snake consumption more blasphemous than just like normal consumption? Other than the fact that the snake would eat something whole. But I mean, you could be right for all we know. I got a heal. I got stuck. I can't believe I died twice to rats and a Misbegotten. It's kind of funny. Human meat, and then they acted addicted. Prion, I'm not sure. I think it's Prion. I think I like looked it up after stream one day when we were talking about it, because I couldn't remember the particulars. I may be taking some fall damage on the first jump. You might be right there. Should probably heal. I thought I missed it. Oh, did I pick up my runes a minute ago? Okay, so the trick is to leave the Misbegotten alone. There we go. We got the whip. Forgeboard says, it's caused by eating flesh and components of your own species / kin. It happened to cows a few decades ago. Damn, it really has been a few decades, hasn't it? Mad cow disease? Yeah, so they switched what they were feeding cows from, like, grass to corn infused with, like, the worst parts of, like, beef, which they couldn't sell for human consumption. So they were trying to, like, think of a win all around, but believe it or not, it's not the most natural thing for cows to eat cows, and they started getting a horrific brain disease thing which could spread to humans if they ate that beef. Oh man, he's still alive? I feel like I need to upgrade my weapon more. Get the throwing dagger. So as we come down here, we get a bunch of spirit jellyfish, although these ones seem to be unique in the lands between. And I thought it had the other one out. in that they've got like these extra tendrils on the outside of their bodies. So I really have no idea how relevant that is, if it's relevant at all, but it's kind of worth mentioning. So we get a bunch of crabs here. A big one will spawn up out of the ground. Taken from Dark Souls 3. I'm gonna get got. Yo, come on, bro. How am I trying to do that? It really just said, screw that little guy. There we go. Crab eggs and a strip of white flesh. Fire arrows. I knew there was something over here. I didn't think it was important. It turns out I was right. So from here we can see the Leonine Misbegotten. Although he's not wielding the grafted sword right then? Does he pull it out after the fact? Huh. Guess I never noticed that. And Edgar is typically summonable around this region. Okay, here it is. Castellan Edgar. So he's got the Banished Knight equipment on. We saw him a moment ago. He's got the halberd. Anyway. Well, should I summon? Should I not? I don't really care. It's just lore. Eric Williams loves this beach area so much. I kind of hate it because it just doesn't connect to the rest of the castle. But that's pretty much the only reason. Otherwise, I really do like the vibes of this. This is very like Demon Souls or like Orphan of Kos-esque. Florgemarch asks, the real question is, why are there fire arrows submerged in water? Exactly. The quintessential SpongeBob question. So he's got the sword. Oh, he just doesn't use the actual grafted greatsword. I forgot about that, apparently. It's only the other one. The Golden Order greatsword guy uses that one. Am I really staggering him with this? Thanks, Edgar. I was expecting to get a posture break off of what I did. There we go. Wrath of Gold, huh? Oh, wow. Oh, I didn't even know an NPC could actually visceral like that. It would have been really cool if you got the winning blow that way. Damn, guys, an NPC that pulled his weight. That isn't Black Iron Knight Tarkus. So we got the Grafted Blade Greatsword. So if there's anything that has like the touches of George R.R. Martin in this game, I feel like the Grafted Blade Greatsword is definitely it. Even if it is essentially an homage to Game of Thrones, but potentially on behalf of FromSoft there. So I'm going to equip it to try to look at the little design on the front of this. So let's look at the big crave here. So we got this whole lion sigil on it, which is kind of reminiscent of Sirash and what you see on the Beast Crest Heater Shield. I don't remember if I read that, to be honest, so I'm going to check that out. Features the beast as its crest, serving to remind warriors not to succumb to the arousal of battle, fight with passion, but become not its prisoner, and that is most likely like a Sirash reference. So I've wondered whether or not the lands of Castle Mourn and Stormvale were the ancient territorial possession of Sirash before Godfrey came in and stormed the castles and subjugated the lands. But anyway, that's just headcanon right there. And then Platypus says, Edgar has a special version of the Banished Knight armor. You forget the difference, though? Interesting. I know there's like a couple different variations of it, technically speaking, but I wish I paid more attention. Paisan never knew you could actually summon him. Rip. Chadwick wonders what Martin even did. You mean literally? Which story beat and character archetype is new for this game? That's a really good question. I think that depending on how you think about stuff like the Gallery connection in like Millicent and the Insect God, Martin might have brought those kind of mythoses into the greater game world that FromSoft could have expanded on. Miyazaki and Martin themselves have said that he kind of came up with the backstory for the demigods, but Miyazaki said he kind of wanted to surprise Martin with how they were changed after the Shattering, when like all of their heroic traits were kind of eroded away. So I really don't know, and I am skeptical of like a lot of the claims of like how much George actually contributed to the game, because we really don't know how big his manuscript was. It could have just been like a couple pages of character notes for all we know. And maybe Miyazaki is just such a fan of Martin that he felt compelled enough to just give him like really big writing credits on everything regardless, just as a fanboy meme. I don't know. But again, like, that's one of the biggest difficulties of trying to tackle Elden Ring's lore compared to all of the other FromSoft lore, which is already difficult enough to tackle on its own. And you say this is a right-facing lion. Was the other one right-facing? I think so, yeah. Okay, Nightmare says it was 40 pages in an interview by Martin. Do you have a link to that interview? Because I'm not sure if I've seen that one specifically. He created all the main demigods in America, as well as the concept of the setting and many names and minor characters. It was Miyazaki's idea to make the setting post-apocalyptic. Okay. To be able to read those 40 pages. Maybe we'll get it eventually, after A Song of Ice and Fire releases its final books. Okay, so that was everything in Castle Mourn. Oh, I did not actually read the thing. So this is the storied sword of Castle Mourn, a revenger's weapon. It is burdened with oceans of anger and regret. One of the legendary armaments. A lone surviving champion from a country now vanished was so determined to continue fighting that he claimed the swords of an entire clan of warriors. So, before talking about that, let's go to the main section of Castle Mourn and check out the grave site next to it, because I did not do that earlier, because I was distracted by deathbirds and whatnot. Alright. The Siege of Castle Mourn. A lone hero fights for his vengeance, only to fall at the hand of Lord Godfrey. So, I tend to believe that the Grafted Blade Greatsword was held by that lone hero fighting for their vengeance, and they were defeated by Godfrey. I don't know whether or not that person was the Stormlord, or whether or not the Stormlord was defeated and this person was trying to get revenge for the defeat of the Stormlord. I do think that is a possibility, because we don't actually know the true identity of the Stormlord. I think based on what we have so far, the most likely culprit would be Placidus Axe. I know many people believe it would be the Stormhawk King, but I feel like the Japanese really takes the wind out of those sails, because it says like that hawk was revered by all other hawks rather than it was revered as sovereign by all others. So, setting that aside, let's go back to the Greatsword. This is one of the few items that does continue to talk about Revengers, which is kind of what's his face, Edgar does sort of become later on. So it seemed like in earlier drafts of the story, there may have been more of an interplay between the concepts of Revengers and becoming frenzied and like getting maddened and having red eyes. And a lot of that stuff got cut entirely, and there was somebody who wanted to fight the Crucible Knight or Dovis, who was a Revenger. And anyway, the only other Revenger thing aside from the Edgar stuff in the base game that I can recall would be that Exyx is referred to as a revenger, despite being afflicted with scarlet rot. So revenge seems to supersede the erosion of memories, perhaps, I suppose. I don't know. So unique skill is the Oath of Vengeance. Swear an oath upon the Greatsword to avenge the clan, temporarily raising all attributes for a certain duration. Blah, blah, blah. So the country now vanished could refer to what would have been in this whole Limgrave / Stormvale region before the conquest of Godfrey. So we'll go back to Irina and then probably visit the Roundtable Hold. Chadwick said, at least Martin doesn't think he's terribly important here. You ever see what the author of The Witcher sounds like? In general, or do you mean like literally his voice? Because I've like looked at an interview or two, but not like a ton of stuff. Because I know he was kind of like, he originally appreciated what they did with the TV show, and then he kind of ended up hating it, I guess. So we see Edgar by Irina's body.
Irina, how could this be? My daughter deserved better. The fault lies with me. I chose duty over my daughter's safety. And that is how fate has answered. I'll find them. The foul wretches responsible for this. I'll hunt them down and exterminate every last one of them. Rest assured, Irina, it will be done.
Yeah, I guess our boy has a navy cloak as opposed to like a red hood or something like that, as far as the differences in the things go. So I don't really notice anything that stands out about the embroidery on it. Not a big deal. I need the free cam mod to see. Anyway.
I'll find them. The foul wretches responsible for this. I'll hunt them down and exterminate every last one of them. Rest assured, Irina, it will be done. I'll find them. The foul. I'll hunt them down. Rest assured.
Alright, so I did screw up his quest line. You are supposed to kill that Misbegotten first before coming back to Irina, I guess. Which is kind of weird that they left it working this way, but I guess it makes sense because they wanted to have the quest progress even if you don't fight that boss. And there's no guarantee that you weren't going to continue to fight that boss. I guess it makes sense. It's just a little bit unfortunate. Alright. Wait, I can't talk to Melina here? Why can't I talk to her there? Maybe I just need to be in Limgrave again. Ponyboy says, it always felt like the Misbegotten got framed there to you. Nice. Why do you think they were framed specifically? Other than Hayata continuing to exist as Irina. Other than all that. Hilko scoured the area the other day to see if someone missed a giant clue. Did I already visit the Roundtable Hold? No. Let's go to the church pilgrimage, I guess. Forgeboard says, Edgar is the only NPC worth killing at the start of his quest. He dies without knowing of Irina's passing. If you do that, then I believe you might miss out on a Shabriri grape. Actually, I don't really know. It's been a long time since I looked at those quest triggers. I have left Limgrave. I've gotten Melina to talk about this in other locations. Alright. Well, we could go to the Bestial Sanctum real quick That's weird, because I thought earlier on the stream that we saw Melon wanting to talk to us. Maybe it's for something completely different. D&D Hydrate never actually saw the quest this early. You always met the Grape Girl for the first time at the lake. It must be interesting to like do the hiatus stuff on its own and then kind of find out about Irina's body later. Alright, Forgeborge likes to think that Shibiri is like the Elden Beast equivalent for the Frenzy Flame, since he possesses others in a similar manner to the Frenzy itself, and seems to be its spokesman slash vassal. So before dealing with our Black Blade Kindred, which I am not going to fight this dude this early. I could, but it's just such a pain in the ass. The gargoyles are pretty rough. I am not looking forward to returning to Noxtella. Anyway.
Forgive me. I've been testing you to determine if the Elden Ring would truly have you, if you had the mettle to endure this long and arduous path. It seems my worries were unfounded. Torrent had your measure from the very start, whereas I merely pretended. There is but one other thing I can do to offer you guidance. I can take you to the Roundtable Hold, gathering place of tarnished champions, guided by grace. Very well. Let my hand rest upon you for but a moment.
Hey Corn, nice to see you again. So yeah, I know you can travel to the Roundtable Hold from Margit's Side of Grace. I didn't realize you could die to him and then be sent there. That's kind of funny. So here we get the Roundtable Hold. Because I am an edgy assassin boy, I'm just going to go ahead and beeline it to our imps and get some cool new incantations. I should probably look up where to get the White Shadow Lure at Ashavor. Because that's going to be like the main one that I want to use for this build. Crepus's Black Key Crossbow and the Black Key Bolt times 20. That's literally all you can get per playthrough, which is baffling. Now, Assassin's Prayer Book with the sigil of the two fingers on the thing. Prayer Book of the Roundtable Hold's Assassins can be given to a learned cleric to gain access to the following incantations: Assassin's Approach and Darkness. I'm trying to look at the surrounding of the book. I guess it's not too important. I guess I'm not worried about those. And then where did we pick up the Crepus crossbow? Crepus's Black Key Crossbow. Okay. Black crossbow featuring a long stock. Used for sniping, it has a very long range. Weapon of Crepus, who served the two fingers from the shadows of the round table as the head confessor. So the cool thing is when you do equip the crossbow, it does have the exact same like sigil thing as the armor set that we wear itself. Let's put myself next to this wall. There you go. So that's kind of okay, there we go. So that's like what's on our back. So the sword thing is very obviously the thing coming through the two intertwining things, which almost... never mind. I was going to say they almost kind of look like snakes, but I mean, just because they're undulating things, it doesn't necessarily make them snakes. Damn, you get that Ash of War in the snowfield? So what do we need to use this? 16 Dex and 14 Strength. Oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to potentially do the Bloodhound Fang. Oh well, I'm just not going to bother. I can equip this. Can't use this now. I mean, I can, but not in the Roundtable Hold. So we'll talk to Corin and then all of the other NPCs. And learn more about the heresies of the Two Fingers. But yeah, I can't really do that here.
Oh, I see you've just arrived. Welcome to the Roundtable Hold. I'm Corin, a man of the cloth. I teach incantations, the strength granted us by the Two Fingers, and explore the secrets of the Golden Order, so that one day, if a tarnished of the Roundtable Hold should become Elden Lord, I might counsel them, ensuring order regains its proper form, righting rule over men. By the way, do you still see it? The guidance of grace.
So this is one of the ones where you don't really get the option to redo the dialogue that you provide, so I'm just going to tell good old Corin that we do see the guidance still.
You do? Wonderful news. Most tarnished are blind to it these days. You are something of a rare breed. Well, what do you say? Care to learn an incantation of the Two Fingers?
So this is going to be a fun thing to look at the incantations he sells initially, but before doing that, I wanted to welcome in Greyard and Buster Suds and Jonah. Nice to have all of you guys again. Our Crusader cut their teeth against that gargoyle so much on your first playthrough. I feel like that gargoyle is a wall boss for a lot of people's first playthroughs. Thank you, Jonah. I appreciate that. Corin literally being handed a book that was written by Radagon himself. This is a work of heresy. And so, in addition to the Two Fingers incantations, for whatever reason, Corin also sells two fire giant incantations with Catch Flame and Flame Sling. So, the Two Finger incantations he sells are Urgent Heal, Heal, Cure Poison, Magic Fortification, Flame Fortification, Rejection, and then Catch Flame and Flame Sling, which are the two giant ones. Although you don't really see the giant sigil behind these two, which is kind of weird. So, the first three descriptions of Cure Poison, Heal, and Urgent Heal say, the Two Fingers has high hopes for the Tarnished, that even should they be wounded, even should they fall, they'll continue to fight for their duty. We've seen that one before. Magic Fortification and Flame Fortification say the same thing in that follow the path that has been set for you and you'll make enemies of all others, the monks, the sorcerers, the ancient dragon knights, and the scions of gold. Heed me, the lands between offers no welcome to the tarnished. So that kind of ties into like protection of the Erdtree, where like you make enemies of all others and you need to war to become Elden Lord essentially. But anyway, Rejection says it produces a shockwave that knocks back nearby foes. Oh, maybe this is what Edgar used. Hark, Tarnished. If you truly walk in faith, you must be prepared to reject all else. Then with Catch Flame, it's an incantation originating from a sinister prophecy. Momentarily sparks flame from the caster's hand. This incantation can be cast without delay, blah blah blah. The flame of ruin is anathema to the Erdtree, but prophets sometimes glimpse it within the faith all the same. Sadly, when this occurs, their sole reward is banishment. And so Flamesling pretty much says the same thing there. I'm not going to worry too much about these incantations. We don't really get poisoned very much in this game, so I might just not use anything. Rejection might be nice in some very fringe cases, but I feel like I don't need it. So now we can give our prayer book to Corin.
That is a work of heresy. Its incantations bear no lineage from the Erdtree. Very well. I'll take it off your hands.
So we gave him a 2-finger incantation booklet, and he said that is a work of heresy,
The Golden Order shall...
and that it doesn't come from the Erdtree, which really calls into question the 2 fingers connections to the Erdtree, or whether or not what Corrin is saying is a bit of a dev oversight, or Corrin just being an idiot, because he is not necessarily the most knowledgeable, but he actually might be really knowledgeable and just doubts himself, kind of like other characters in FromSoft games. So it's a little bit ironic that he places his faith more in Goldmask than the own prophecies that he sees, because his armor set says he wears the wheel to like remind himself of like the consequences of such prophecies and whatnot. So NPC 314 and Sporty Baby, nice to see you again. And then Jonah, thanks so much for the 20. I appreciate that. Thanks for the content, Ming. You're welcome. I appreciate it. And thanks for the 20. So Sporty Baby was asking what vigor level we should have for the DLC. Honestly, I feel like if things are supposed to be on par with the Erdtree or LFIL, I feel like going lower than 50 is going to just probably make it a harder time for yourself. I feel like you need a lot more vigor in Elden Ring than the previous games. I believe I fought Melania at 40, and that was a bit of a rough experience. And the higher you have, the more mistakes you can make. Because towards the end of this game, it really becomes kind of glass cannon-y. Corrin says, rejection is great. It works better than I think. Plenty of players' gravity kills can be had with it. I feel like that's better for PvP than PvE, though. Maybe you're right. And then Meow Laser says that Corrin does say that all of the books are heretical except for the Golden Order book, which is true. And we don't actually get any Erdtree faithful incantation booklets to give to Corrin to see what he would say about that. But we do know he himself is an adherent to the Golden Order for sure. Yeah, and as Corrin says, 60 vigor, boys and girls. I feel like that is probably like the best answer. But I would say like 50 if you probably want a little bit of extra challenge. But I feel like 60 is probably the most natural point at the end game there. Is that the soft cap now that you mention it? I don't remember. Sporty says Flames Cleanse Me is the best incantation of the game. I really like not only Flame Cleanse Me. What's the one that Fire Spur Me On? No. Fire Give Me Strength? Flame Give Me Strength? I can't remember the actual name of it. NPC 314, or should I just call you NPC Pi? Brings up a good point that Corrin has a high faith stat, but a low int stat, so he's unable to understand Radagon's teachings, maybe. Paisan's characters have only 50 vigor, but you'll be alright though. Oh, that can knock the birds out of the air? Okay, maybe that it would be more worthwhile using that. NPC thinks that Corrin pushes Goldmask off the cliff. I never thought about that. No, I don't think that works, because you can kill Corrin and still complete Goldmask's quest. I'm pretty confident. Flame On? I'm pretty sure it's not called that one. Flame Give Me Strength. That is it. Yeah. Okay.
Further study of incantations, is it? I can happily spare the time and applaud your enthusiasm.
So I believe we've already got Assassin's Approach, because that's what we started off with. And then we get Darkness, which is kind of interesting, but it seems mostly useless, to be honest. This is an incantation of the Two-Finger Servants who once served as the Assassins of the Roundtable Hold. Creates a veil of darkness that conceals the caster. This incantation can be cast while in motion or crouching. The assassins were themselves once tarnished who had strayed from guidance, and they pursued their duty in the darkness that is without grace. So I think there is a little bit of an issue in the localization here, because it can make it sound as though that the assassins would have had duties to pursue within darkness. However, the Japanese is a little bit clearer in that it is because they had no duties that they looked for duty within darkness. So they're trying to find their own locus, their guiding light, so to speak. which I wonder if that's supposed to have any like thematic connection to like the Blood Star, because like darkness, Blood Star, all that kind of stuff does seem to go hand in hand, but apparently not for everybody, perhaps.
May the Golden Order shine through you.
So right, adherent of the Golden Order to the max. We did already kill D because of lore reasons that I want to share when we go meet his brother. So we get Dialos here for his first location in the game. We've still not met Roger yet, or Roderica, so here we are.
Ah, hello. You must be new here. Well, just call me Dialos. The honor of one's house holds little import in these lands. By the way, have you met a young woman named Lanya on your travels? She's my servant, but fickle as the wind. Take your eyes off her for but a moment and she's good as gone. If you find her, please be sure to tell me. Be sure to tell me if you meet a young woman named Lanya. She's a servant to my house. She's been my companion since childhood. I've lost count of the number of times I've had to find her like this. Honestly, she's such a little tomboy.
Right, Emerald Jack, nice to see you again. Sorry I forgot to post my Discord at the top of the chat and pin it, but yeah, apparently Nightbot eats all the links, so if you guys want to send me something more specifically, either make a direct comment on the video or in the Discord if you want me to look at something. Blackman says, forget everything else they've ever said, just do 60 vigor. There's literally no reason not to. The only reason would be to just make it slightly more challenging, but I feel like 60 is the magic number for dealing with Moog and Melania. Anyway. Our Crusader said, Lanya almost feels pointless in the game, but that's just your opinion. I feel like she does help characterize a bit of what goes on with the Volcano Manor and a bit of the depths in which Dialos is willing to go to try to fulfill his own idea of destiny, which kind of helps serve his redemptive arc later on. So I kind of disagree with that take right there. And then Cryptic Stench, nice to see you again. The scaling off the bat in the DLC will be quite challenging. Sister will almost definitely be essential. Alright.
Be sure to tell me if you meet a young woman named Lanya. She's a servant to my house. She's been my companion since childhood. I've lost count of the number of times I've had to find her like this. Honestly, she's such a little tomboy.
And then Galamoth said, if you're level capping yourself, 60 vigor is a big drain on stats. A little bit, but I mean, it's kind of like one of the most necessary stats if you don't want to be one-shot constantly. And maybe the DLC will like fix that a little bit with however they have like their power-up thing implemented, but I don't know. Let's go talk to Schmidian. And then NPC says 60 vigor is especially important if you're using a Source Seal. I feel like it just runs kind of a little bit counterintuitive. It might be better to just not level up that much vigor and just do the other stats directly. I'm not sure how much those Source Seals provide. You might be right, though.
This is a rare occasion. I can't remember the last time a new tarnished made their way to the Round Table. Very well. As your senior, I bid you welcome. It is safe here. You may let down your guard. Allow me a word of advice. As your senior, you are a mere visitor to the Round Table. Nothing more. A house guest. Yet to earn their keep. Remember your place, newcomer.
So speaking of like how much of this was George R.R. Martin versus FromSoft, I feel like Gideon's dialogue right here is super Japanese as hell by establishing the senior relationship to our tarnished player character. But I feel like at this point in the history of the world, most people are kind of more familiar with that whole senior concept. And this isn't entirely foreign to like the English speaking world, that somebody in the same kind of job position as you are that was there before you is kind of your senior, even if we don't typically identify people quite that bluntly in everyday language. Anyway.
There's nothing left to say. Be at your leisure. There's nothing left.
Maybe I zoned out for him telling us that he won't welcome us until we kill the Great Ruin Bearers. But anyway, I guess we could talk to Ensha, sort of. What do you want? And so many people say that Ensha has the female body type, but is like got the head of a dude apparently in the internal files, so that way they could pose more against the wall better, I guess. I don't know. So we did get D's bell bearing, so we can offer that to the Twin Maiden Husks, which opens up a specific shop to get Litany of Proper Death and Order's Blade. Litany of Proper Death might be nice. Apparently, Deathbirds are actually weak to this somehow, and I don't really need Order's Blade just yet with my current Ash of War, and I don't have the intelligence for these anyway. I am a dum-dum. But from the Twin Maidens, we can get the Rune Arcs. Oh, we haven't gotten one of these yet. White Cipher Ring, Blue Cipher Ring, the Memory Stones, some Stone Sword Keys, plus a Dagger, Longsword, Rapier, Scimitar, Battle Axe, Mace, Short Spear, Longbow, Finger Seal, Heater Shield, and the base Knight set, plus the Frilled Fingers Trick Mirror and the Host's Trick Mirror. Believe it or not, the Host's Trick Mirror is a really quintessential item for lore playthroughs, because if you put this on your main character, yet summon a Mimic tier, the Mimic tier will appear identical to the player character, which is kind of nice if you want to get fighting footage of your character rather than just stills, because you could just use your Mimic tier as a stand-in. Anyway, Rune Arc. It's a shard of the Shattered Elden Ring. Grants the blessing of an equipped Great Rune upon use. Even if no Great Rune is equipped, it will slightly increase maximum HP upon use. The lower arc of the Elden Ring is held to be the basin in which its blessings pool. Perhaps the shard originates from that very arc. And with so many people crucified on something which resembles the Rune Arc, I do wonder if like that pooling basin is meant to be at play there as well. And I mentioned that briefly the other night when we were talking about that. The white and blue silver cipher rings are one of the lost mystic codes said to have been bestowed by the Two Fingers, and they're just kind of letters in the sky essentially. So otherwise these are just like multiplayer items, not too important. Everything else is pretty nondescript, I believe, so I'm not worried about it. Yeah, okay. Just thinking about the fact that this one creates a golden figure stand-in when you summon, or when you look like a summon, and how that might relate to gold free and whatnot, but probably doesn't really. Hey Aziz, welcome into the stream. Beware of Edge, Lord. Thank you. I will beware. Alright, Vorb, you took a shower and went to the grocery store, but you're back. That makes you a fake gamer, confirmed. Your words, not mine. Alright.
You're a new face. No matter. It's all the same. Lay out your arms. Let's get smithing.
About the chains on your legs.
I see you've noticed the chains. Nothing special. I'm a prisoner and these are my chains. I'm trapped by the hold. I'm dying, smithing for you fools. That's all there is to it.
You're a prisoner?
No, don't read too much into it. I've no grudge against you. My being a prisoner is no fault of yours. Besides, I don't mind smithing. Despite my differences, the weapons get stronger all the same. given time. Technique never fails. Besides, it helps me forget. The sheer terror of her.
So it seems like the most likely reference to the sheer terror of her would be a reference to Marika. If for no other reason, then it seems as though Hewg doesn't reference any other characters aside from like Roderica. He only ever talks about Marika. So if there is a terrible side of Marika, Hewg has seen it, which is kind of cool. It is also interesting to me that Hewg is in the Roundtable Hold when he himself is explicitly not a tarnished character. So it seems as though Marika placed him in the Roundtable Hold specifically to kill a god, which might set off some alarm bells. Like, why would Marika's goal be for Hewg to slay a god? And all of that manner of thing. So we can strengthen armaments, Ashes of War duplication, and sell stuff. So he doesn't sell Ashes of War. We can still strengthen this thing. Not sure if I want to do that or if I want to hold off for another weapon later on. It's kind of one of the bad parts of trying to figure out what you want to do in any given moment here. Alright.
Back already. No matter. Lay out your arms.
Cryptic Extension asks, does anyone know the total count of the number of ancient and somber smithing stones there are? I'm assuming you're talking about the top tier. I think there's between 8 and 10 per playthrough, which might be affected by quest completions. Honestly, Vorb and other people in chat, I really wouldn't worry too much about your stat distributions for the DLCs, because I feel like we might have one plan going into it, but as soon as we see something super cool in the DLC to switch to, we'll probably make the switch naturally on our own. But obviously, if you want to go in with a specific thing, do so. Just be prepared for that plan to change, I suppose. And then Lavish Peasant, nice to see you again. You feel like Hewg may have been part of the Crucible culture in the Land of Shadows and became a prisoner of war after the Purge. Yeah, I'm kind of waiting to learn more about that before I go all in on one of those ideas. Oh, you want to roleplay the character you're currently on? So when the DLC drops, you're definitely switching. Option paralysis, indeed. Okay. So I think that's pretty much it with the Roundtable Hold for now, other than Fia. So let's actually do something a little bit different. Turn on our HUD and check out our status. So we have 671 max HP right now, and that might change after we talk to Fia.
Great champion called by grace. I am Fia. Circumstances have compelled my stay at the Roundtable Hold. Great champion, would you allow me to hold you? But briefly, perhaps you might share with me some of your lively vigor and your stout-heartedness. Doing so will grant me the warmth of a champion, and you, I am sure, will bear a Baldakin's blessing. Do you think it vulgar, perhaps? Where I come from, it is a sacred act.
So this is one of those times where if you refuse, it doesn't really matter, so that's what we're gonna do.
I understand. Your disdain is only natural, but should you change your mind, come pay me another visit. Oh, my dear, had a change of heart already?
Let her hold you.
Ah, my thanks, great champion.
I really wish this animation was faster, though. It's like the worst part of the Fia quest line.
You are very warm.
So now we see a chunk of our HP go down, and we obtain a Baldakin's blessing.
What you felt light up inside you was a Baldakin's blessing. Though it is but a fleeting thing, I am afraid. Come back to me, should you require another. I will take you in my arms as often as you need.
Cooties? Oh god. What do I have? A chat of second graders? Vorb never refused her. Okay, tell you about it. Stella says, ew, hugs. Okay. And then Korn says they have to copy your character. It takes time. It's still annoying, though. You could do that with a loading screen. And let's go ahead and check out our status. We were at 671 before. Now we're at 637. That's almost like a level up worth of vigor for a silly little consumable, which is a consumable. I would have enjoyed the Baldachin's Blessings a lot more if they were non-consumable, because it's just kind of really annoying having to come back to the Roundtable Hold or something like this. Or conversely, if you could stock up on these, I wouldn't have cared as much. So this is favor bestowed by a deathbed companion. Protection of a hidden temple in the guise of a bedchamber. Uses FP to temporarily boost poise. The favor allows one to forget any aches and pains. In death, there is only peace, for in death there can be no sensation. So this is a lot of really important subtextual lore here, because this to me establishes that things like curses, which are kind of dead, are actually in reality sort of alive, because things that are dead are at peace because they have no sensations to keep them bound to the material world. So things like curses, they're in pain, which shows that they're not dead because they have that sensation of pain or anguish, torment, etc. So the other thing to point out is when Fia offered us to get the Baldachin Blessing, she says she'll take some of our lively vigor, but the Japanese there uses some of our will, which might tie into what she does with Godwyn and the creation of her Great Rune later on. So if Fia can absorb the wills of people who are still alive to give blessings, then perhaps she absorbs the wills or the gold of Godwyn to produce her rune. But yeah. Anyway, will is kind of tied to max HP based off of this interaction with Fia, amongst other things. So it's very subtextual. I would not be surprised in the least if the DLC expands upon it a little bit more, perhaps in a similar fashion, even if it's a bit roundabout.
I am pleased to see you again. Would you like me to hold you once more? The blessing is still aflame in your breast, dear. Would you like to be held, regardless?
Sure, I guess.
Now,
I'm gonna go
come
take a nap
closer.
real quick. Stella said somebody made a mod that speeds up this animation specifically. Good. They should. Should be a base part of the game.
You are so very warm.
Talk
I
in
was
secret.
known as a deathbed companion. Where I come from, after I received the warmth and lively vigor from a number of champions, I lay with the remains of an exalted noble. To grant him another chance at life, to do so is the purpose of my being. But before I could bear the noble into new life, I was awakened by the guidance of grace and chased from my birthplace. Pray, be kind. Despite all that, I still wish to be a deathbed companion. So please, let me hold you like this, as often as it takes. Then good day to you, my dear.
So that's kind of how we learn more about the Deathbed Companions, by taking another 30-minute nap with Fia. So anyway, Summit Streams, welcome on into the stream. Have I ever thought anything about You Are Very Warm? So depending on like the whole concept of lively vigor and or its relationship to willpower and gold, more specifically, to give a kind of shitpost reply, and this will make sense in a minute, just when you look at something like gold-tinged excrement, it says that gold-tinged excrement is a highly stable substance. It doesn't dry out, nor does it lose its customary warmth or scent. For better or worse, it remains as it is. So gold might preserve things and be tied to like the whole idea of life. And so with her saying that we're warm, she could just be feeling our literal life force within us, or it could just be something as innocuous as being held and actually appreciating the warmth of somebody else as you hold them or are embraced by them yourself. So the lore is, if you're surprised by this, maybe you're a little bit touch-starved, or there's something more kooky going at play here, which is kind of up to the individual to figure out. So let's go ahead and get our ass beat by, not Aldrich, but whatever his name is. And then Yada's getting owned by the lobsters in the shunning grounds right now. Help you? No. Suffer. Nah, but for real, I'm not going to deal with those damn lobsters. You crazy? It's like one of the few areas of the game where I just nope out every time. Elbrich. Screw your bow. So this dude can use frost magic almost as though he's like a Ronnie follower. He's got like freezing mists, which I should not stand in. So he froze me. It's going to do a lot of extra damage if I get hit. Gonna heal up after that trade. So is he. I tried ducking and stabbing. Maybe it's the R1 with the... Oh. Okay, so I can't trade a ton with him. Oh, and he uses Briar stuff. He does use the Staff of Briars, or Staff of the Guilty, whatever it's called. So he's kind of a cool dude. His armor set is filled... is filled with red glintstone, which is used from like the blood of sacrifices and whatnot. Hey Revenant, nice to see you again. Why would Fia say that her hugs are seen as vulgar, assuming they're not some kind of euphemism? It's because she's literally absorbing our lively vigor. And the way that I look at the deathbed companions, because they're compared to the perfumers whose goal is to alleviate the suffering of those who are dying, the deathbed companions are taking in the life forces of people, which allows them to die in peace. Damn it. And allows them to not have any of that pain in death and become like a curse themselves, which is something that the perfumers are trying to do with the Misbegotten and the Omen, but they ultimately failed. So I think if the deathbed companions can take in the life force of something else and give birth to new life, it is a way to circumvent the natural cycle of Erdtree burial. Should have waited for the bow before. I'm gonna die. 3 hits. I was chain stunned. That's what I get for the disrespect, I suppose. Maybe I should upgrade my weapon after all. No, I just need to get good. NPC type enemies are so annoying when they don't just let you spam Ashes of War at them repeatedly. He's cheating. I was afraid I was going to be out of stamina and get one shot. You Goomba, you were out of juice. I was out of stamina. I was out of a different kind of juice. Kinda got lucky with that spell specifically. Oh, I thought I died. I saw that icon pop up in the top right of the screen. I thought it was GG. Oh. Should have hit me there. I'm gonna... There we go. Mad Tongue Albridge has died, and we got our Taunter's Tongue. So now we can get invaded willy-nilly. Before that, let's check out one of my favorite corpses in the entire game. It's kind of a funny statement, because that implies that I have other favorite corpses. Anyway, we get the Cipher Pata, and it says... This is one of the weapons originating from the two fingers. A formless sequence of ciphers comprise its blade, and as such no shield can repel it. Deals holy damage. The furtive inscriptions appears to hang in the air, the language of light spoken by the two fingers. So, unique skill, unblockable blade. Imbue the cipher blade with light, then lunge forward with a sudden piercing attack. This attack cannot be blocked. I've not really used this before. What's it take? A lot of faith. 30! That's a lot more than I expected. Anyway. So, the two fingers words can literally become weapons, which is really cool. Cipher means like, an encoded... That's a weird sound. Alright, so Cipher Pata means how do you say cipher other than cipher? Like an encoded word, essentially. So anyway. What else did I just pick up? Oh yeah, the Taunter's Tongue. Okay, it doesn't actually say anything specific. So it just allows me to lure in invaders and whatnot. Ward missed Patches' calm down gesture the other day and you feel like a huge failure. It's all good, man. I'm sorry. Hey, Billy Deerhead, welcome into the stream. How dare the AI not freeze out with one easy trick? I know, right? Oh yeah, and I didn't talk about my favorite corpse. So for whatever reason, we have a burnt corpse in the Roundtable Hold, the kind of like memory one. It's like, why the hell is this thing here specifically? Actually, what's going on with this book? Nothing. First off, fingers. Likely death. Okay. So yeah, in the base Roundtable Hold, having some charred corpses isn't the most surprising because we see the fortified manor is covered with ash, essentially, and was burned, but why is there a burned corpse here in this, of all places? So here we get a Lothric banner type thing that you can see in the Ringed City reappear here in Elden Ring. You can also find this in the church in Stormvale Castle itself, but this is like underneath the blade, the Lothric Nightblade that you can see very easily before you fight Midir in Dark Souls 3. And so in the Roundtable Hold itself, we've got a bunch of the Sarash banners, plus the kind of goofy dragon-looking like things that we saw in the Fringefolk Hero's Grave, which could imply that this place is older than Godfrey's rule, depending on how you feel about the Banished Knights. And we also have a ton of Banished Knight armor on display as well. And in addition to all this, we will have some Erdtree iconography up here as well. Billy says, because the Wakizashi and Regalia of Yokaid are both found in the jail cave, do I think it's possible Okina and Elmer of the Briar could have been cellmates or even friends? I've honestly never given it much thought. Is it fair to say that... I don't think Okina does use the Wakizashi, but I think his little follower guy does. I don't remember, though. Encrypted, that'd be a good word for it. Thank you, Jonah. Cipher can be 0, placeholder. Galamoth says, the hug is a mysterious thing. You find the embrace of the two humanoids repulsive, their frail, spindly bodies intertwined. Okay. And then Hilko says, what burnt corpse? If you go to the base of... It's essentially what you pick up the Cipher Plata from. The corpse is like burned and on fire in here. For some reason. Alright, so... I think that's it for the Roundtable Hold, unless I'm forgetting something else. We just need to go and see like Roderica and all them. That might be what we do next. No, it's not. I want to, at the very least, get to the Witchbane Ruins, the Fourth Church of America. I guess the Evergoal has Radagon, Sourseal, something like that. Or Scarseal. Scarseal is the small one, Sourseal is the big one. And then Copy Ninja, welcome back to the stream. How's it going? Alright, so Church of Pilgrimage we've talked about. This ghost tells us that the catacombs, not catacombs, the wandering mausoleums cradle the unwanted soulless demigod children of America. And we've got that wandering mausoleum way off in the distance there. And we may as well pick up Crunchy's favorite item in the game from the Tombsword Ruins. The Beast Liver. No, it's not that. Wait, no, this wouldn't be it, would it? Is it the next one? It's a page. It's 2 pages. Oh, it lived through 3 hits. So these are normal pages because they've got the brown hoods. Honestly, pages are pretty tough. They're one enemy type that I don't like to mess with. Here we go. So nothing too interesting on the doors. No big deal. They annoy you in the capital. They're pretty rough between them and the perfumers. Which, if you guys like perfumers, I say nothing. Winged Scythe. Crunchy's white whale of lore hunts right here. So this is a sacred scythe resembling a pair of white wings. Deals holy damage. According to pagan belief, white-winged maidens are said to be death's gentle envoys. Unique skill, Angel's Wings. Jump and imbue the wing blade of the armament with light, then deliver a slashing attack on the enemy. The white wings impede recovery actions using a Flask of Tears. So this is one of the few ways to impede recovery in Elden Ring. I'm assuming you could probably still use incantations because this doesn't say you can't. But anyway, I've wondered whether or not the wings on the Winged Scythe are meant to evoke those of the Deathbirds, like the base form Deathbirds, even though like they're uneven on the Winged Scythe itself. But with them being described as Death's gentle envoys, I kind of wonder. And they do have a pretty cool Ash of War, but I think it's not too unique in the grand scheme of things. It's like as far as the mechanical movements go. So what Evergoal is this one called? Weeping. Okay, that's a little bit unfortunate. Not a lot of extra lore to go with that. Let's go get our 4th Church of America. Actually, this reminds me, I don't think I used my golden seed. So we got another sacred tier, which is always nice. And then I think we'll have more words from Melina, so let's sit this way. Hey, murder your memory. 9 days, it's so damn close. It's getting there, yeah. So Melina doesn't pop up here, okay. So apparently I don't have enough golden seeds. I should probably level up though, huh? I'm gonna level up endurance a bit more, and then I'll start leveling up the fun stats again. So let's go to our Evergoal. I think I might need a stone sword key, and if so, I don't think I have any. If so, I might just barely have one left. Rip. No stone sword key in inventory. Oh yeah, I was supposed to visit the wandering guy and go into the cave that like breaks. But I guess before doing that, I would want to get the lantern. Oh, just bolts. Mausoleum Greaves. So there's also a cave over here, which I did not notice, I don't think, on my actual first playthrough. Kaiden Helm. Some more of Trina's lilies. Do I have to drop down? That's slightly annoying. Hey, Without Horns, how's it going? And Flage, welcome into the stream. What's the deal with the 3rd versus the 4th church? Could you elaborate? Because I tend to think of the churches of America as kind of missionary churches, in that they may have been established in a specific order as America wandered through the lands between. And yes, Billy, I have already talked to Melina at the Church of Pilgrimage. I did that on yesterday's stream, or maybe the one before. And then Paisan asks, do we know if the DLC is staggered release, or will it release at the same time worldwide? I think it's a simultaneous release. I know the base game was a simultaneous release, unless people got their hands on the physical copies early. But yeah. Jonah says, a sacrifice? The Golden Order is basically the Elden Ring in the absence of the Death Rune, right? America does say that any demigod who doesn't make something of themselves will be sacrifices. So I don't know if it's quite as simple as the removal of the Rune of Death equals the Golden Order. And of course, I am of the opinion that I think the Golden Order is more affiliated with the timing of Radagon and whatnot. Well, this is what I get for not wanting to buy the anti-poison incantation. I don't have my boluses equipped. Actually, it's been a really long time since I looked at the mushroom dudes. I want to see if they have a sigil. Wait, how come we don't get a cool poison projectile? I need the free cam mod for this. Okay, so that is definitely the rod symbol, but just green. Alright, so I'm actually going to hold this up for a little bit. Poison blooms. Golden rune 2s. That's not good. Necessary item ahead. Wait, was that not an actual item? That's annoying. Roll calling finger remedy. I'm not worried about those. Oh no. That ghost just scared the crap out of me. Poison bone darts. I think those are all dudes. Oh, I only have one of these? I should have bought more. Okay. Which time zone will get the midnight release? Japan? I am not sure. I would need to double check. That's a good question. Mr. Yada says the Kaiden helm goes really suspiciously well with the Zamora armor set. Nice. And then Jonah says, it's interesting though, kinda, that there are sacrifices made in order for an Elden Lord to emerge, or rather the Golden Order is the state of the lands between in the absence of the Rune of Death. One moment here. And then this is the kind of noob trap setup killer. If we try to come this way, the boulder comes crashing through, and then you just fight a bunch of Cabra demons, a bunch of Taurus demons, and so having another recycled... Why is that back now? Well, you got by the oldest one in the book. Venom says, when you started this playthrough, you mentioned how obvious the ball rolling trap was, and I thought he's going to fall for it on a second trip through the asylum. I figured he probably didn't have a lot of hits with this Byhander. Wait, what? That's actually really, really funny. Just straight up assassinated right there. Okay. Let's go get our damn souls back. So now we should have a little time to read chat. Nix what I said about the souls, guys. So if I remember correctly, you actually just need to walk off here. You don't run. Because that screwed me up for a while. Well, sometimes I just get stubborn. Which I really shouldn't do on stream. I tell myself not to do it on stream, and then I end up doing it anyway. Alright. Or then I say, let's play smarter, and then I continue to do the exact stupid thing that got me in the situation in the first place. There's our stairs. There. Damn it! I think I should survive the fall. Unless we get hit by, like, the skull again. Alright, sorry about that. I am back. So, what was I saying? I don't remember. Anyway. Oh, in Flage's mind, they were all the third church except for one. Never mind. Okay. Glad you figured that out. Jonah agrees it's not that simple. It's also like the Erdtree, Rebirth, Grace, and a bunch of other things. You're kind of summarizing the most prominent feature of our world under the Great Golden Order. That's totally fair. I'm just trying to be pedantic so that way we don't make baseless assumptions. Alright, let's go into the boss fight, which I don't remember what this one is. Oh. Oh. Uh-oh. I wasn't trying to use the torches, but actually, the torch is actually really good. Maybe I'll say actually again. Get out of the poison. Okay. I guess I should have like looked at the plan a bit more. We'll have more opportunities for that. Oh, the Viridian Ember Medallion. Yeah, I tend to forget what's in these small caves. I actually didn't even really want to go in this one. I wanted to go into the one with the dude that leads us to it. The candle tree. Then Galamoth says, what does it even mean to be a martyr to destined death? Destined death is probably a good thing, and the fact that Godwin didn't fully die and his body is still alive is a big, big problem for everything. So it would have been better if he died a full death as opposed to the half death that he's currently got going on now. Yeah, so actually, before we're doing that, let's go all the way down to the south, pick up our lantern. That's what I originally meant to do. And I'm not going to worry about this yet, because I don't think I've killed anything that has a remembrance yet. I'll just leave it up for now. Got our Witchbane Ruins with Selman's real body. Which for some reason sprouts like seeds of stars and it has like a bunch of patrolling marionettes. And this place is a fun like kind of damage testing place. You can deal with all these dudes over here. I like this spot as well as going into Caelid with the kind of similar rotted zombie army. Damn it, now because I did that, I'm not going to see where the shack is on the map, but maybe I should just use my eyes instead. Okay. Oh, maybe I should turn it tonight and just get pub stomped by the damn bell-bearing guy. Oh yeah, I did get the cat helm. But we'll be fine without it.
Well, it's been an age since I've seen a customer.
I think this
How
dude
can
sounds
I
like
help
Yura.
here at the end of the earth.
So we get our coveted lantern, plus a stone sword key, which we need. Lost Ash of War, the Zweihander, which is really good as always. More smithing stone tier 2s. Plus the Wandering Mausoleum note. The Zweihander doesn't really say anything, so I'm not going to read it. Alright.
Have a safe journey.
Now I'm going to put another item on my hotbar. Alrighty. Wait, can I craft boluses? I can. I forgot about that. Alright. Now let's go ahead and go back to that Evergoal. You love how insanely hard the music goes for the flower fight? Hey, don't diss flowers. I'm a piranha plant main. Torch only run, let's go. That's definitely a thing in Bloodborne. It probably would be a little bit better in Elden Ring. Because you could probably, There's multiple torches, so maybe it would be more effective. What am I doing? Evergoal, that's right. Oh yeah, and we forgot the painting from way earlier. Stone sword key was lost with use. So I do like the little design on the Evergoals themselves. If you look in really closely, you can kind of see a almost spiral pattern of like letters, runes that goes into the very center, which isn't really shared anywhere else that I've seen so far. Do I know about getting the Blessed Dew talisman via the Tower of Calling? Yes, I was going to go through the Tower of Calling if for no other reason than to show off Lane Bell a little bit. Don't worry about it. Actually, if you streamed, you'd say or whatever every other sentence. I'm not worried about it. It's just kind of funny when I notice the repetitions and my speech patterns. I tend to say specifically quite a bit too. Specifically this, specifically that. What's this dude called? I'm assuming it's just a normal Zamorian thing. Ancient hero of Zamor. Honestly, these dudes are really hard to deal with. And I'm not looking forward to this fight. I did not expect that to work, but I'm not going to complain about it. Zamorians, pun intended, are super cool. But they're also extremely lanky. It makes me wonder if a Bloodhound Knight was originally a Zamorian or something along those lines. What's he doing, George? Oh. Actually, that was almost Bloodhound Step reminiscent. I was not expecting that. That's hurting. Uh-oh, okay. I got lucky there. Roll in. Heal. Why isn't he dead yet? There we go. Radagon's Scar Seal. It's a hugely important lore item that's just on some rando in an Evergaol. And I don't remember where the Scar Seal was in 1.0. I probably should have double checked. Actually, Garrulous Goldmask, literally earlier today, just released a video that compared allegedly all of the differences in 1.0 to retail. So it might be worth double checking what their findings were, rather than having to rely on something like Fextra, which is a little bit unreliable for stuff like that specifically. But anyway, I know the America Scar Seal was changed, but I don't remember if Radagon's Scar Seal it was the same. So let's go ahead and check it out. This is an eye engraved with an Elden Rune, said to be the seal of King Consort Radagon. Raises vigor, endurance, strength, and dexterity, but also increases damage taken. These seals represent the lifelong duty of those chosen by the gods. So I've wondered whether or not the lifelong duty of those chosen by the gods means that they were cursed by the gods to fulfill their duties, because that's kind of what Hewg is going through. It's what the fire giant goes through, sort of, potentially. I don't know. Maybe they don't get like the Elden Ring carved into their eyes, but nonetheless, I hold this item in really high esteem because this is, along with the American sword and scar seals, the only references to quote-unquote Elden runes as opposed to great runes. And we see this kind of sort of depicted in the back of the Elden Ring on like the title plate, which I guess I can go back to the main menu screen right now. So yeah, the thing behind the Elden Ring above the rune arc is what I would call Radagon's Elden Rune. Did I say Elden Rune a second ago? I meant the Elden Ring. Anyway, too many similar words. So, because it's described as Radagon's Elden Rune, it leads me to believe that he integrated his own rune into the ring, which is why I was not fully on board with characterizing the Golden Order as just the removal of death, because I don't know if Radagon altered it further. Darth Vader joke. Anyway, let's go ahead and go visit our wandering ghost guy. He'll bring us to this cave over here, so I'm going to come from this way. And so, yeah, Black Man was asking, why does the Zamor in that Evergoal have Radagon's Scar Seal? Your guess is as good as mine. Sometimes when I see stuff like that, I'm just like, I'm going to leave this alone. Because I'm not sure anything truly worthwhile can come from it. So our boy should bring us down here. This is a pretty cool cave. It's one of my favorites, even though I don't really like the caves a lot in this game. The reason why I like this cave in particular is because this is where we encounter our, not first mimic. Yeah, but our, one of our like really first traps other than what you get in Pash's cave. Even though this item isn't that important. It's just something a little bit different to set it apart from the other caves. I was wondering what was going on with that rat. Oh yeah, I have a lantern now. Yeah, and that thing is tanky. Please, rats. Aw, oh, damn it. I thought I'd be able to tank one more hit from the little ones. That's what I get for being smart and avoiding the drop. They got the drop on me. Vord was in the aqueduct right now, and you've been thinking about the implications of item placements. So now you're like, why is there a cookbook with the Golden Order pots and a Golden Order related spell here? Sometimes there isn't a ton of seeming rhyme or reason, which kind of sucks to say, but other times there does seem to be rhyme and reason, so it's a real pain trying to discern which is which at any given moment. Actually, let's do this for once. Oh Lord, it see me. But the other ones didn't hear me. Oh, I take it back. I take it back. To be safe. All right. Some golden runes anyway. Ponyboy asks, whose eye is it though? You know, it's somebody chosen by the gods, bro. Can't you read? And that's another good question. What is the Zamorian doing there so far from home? He is serving time, pretty much. All right, let's go back to the top of the cave there. You hate how rats do such an insane amount of the poise damage? I could see that. Honestly, I kind of like it because it does make them somewhat threatening. So yeah, of the enemy types in Elden Ring, I do respect how much presence they have. I just wish that we had more enemies in general because it gets a little bit old towards the end of the game. Not even towards the end of the game, but you know, through a moderate amount of the game. I totally forgot that there was a path that just goes straight back up to the beginning there. Alright. So I'm not a big fan of this boss fight. Ooh, boy bee. Silver fireflies. I love these things. For their lore implications. There we go. I thought I was going to run out of time. Uh-oh. Panic roll. Get off the stake. I'm out of stamina. Not for that, I'm not. Spelldrake Talisman for that rune bear. So I don't think I've pointed it out yet, but on the rune bears themselves, they have draconic slitted eyes. I guess they don't have black sclera now that I think about it, but they also seem to have like gravel stones sticking out of their chest. And if they're rune bears and they've been eating runes and whatnot, then does that imply a connection between dragons and just like amassing runes and like gaining power? That is something we were talking briefly about the other night on stream. Are there also a limited amount of Trina lilies in the game? I don't know. I think you're right. I think they don't respawn for whatever reason. Nemo says, because of the crafting system, stuff needs to be abundant, and sometimes that's likely to not mean a whole lot for the lore. Which is kind of why I wish we could have crafted legitimate armor pieces for like equipment sets. Because that could help give a bit more meaning to some of these item placements. Like, that wouldn't be the primary reason, but I think it would be a good way to incentivize killing certain types of enemies rather than just having to rely entirely on drop rates. So anyway, we got a Spelldrake Talisman, so this is another candle tree which does not give us a Spirit Ash. So I guess that idea will go out the window. What the hell? Oh. That was kind of terrifying because I thought like the antlers on it almost looked like one of those dudes that was crucified off that split-second glance for me. And it just looked like the dude was looking at me and then it just turned and ran. I was like, what the hell is going on? I've never seen this in all of my playthroughs. There's a reason why I'd never seen it in all my playthroughs. Anyway, let's go fight Maggie. This might be a bad idea. I was going to YOLO rush it. Oh! Alright, Demi-Human Queen Staff plus Crystal Burst. String. I like how I attack them and get pissed off if they retaliate. So we got a Rickety Shield. What spell did I get? I forgot. No, Interior Leaf, which is not too important. So Crystal Burst is one of the glintstone sorceries of the Academy of Rhea Lucaria. Fires a burst of glintstone crystal shards. The sorcery, blah blah blah. A sorcery of the Crystal Cadre, a group of sorcerers who pursued the wisdom of stone, the secrets locked in the faint cogitation of the Crystallians. So I think Selin sells us this, and it requires 18 faith, which shows that Maggie has like a decent amount of faith, or not faith, intelligence, smarter than myself as a tarnished faithful so far. And then what else do we get? The weapon. So the Demi-Human Queen Staff requires 10 intelligence, which is virtually nothing. And it's a glintstone staff styled as a scepter. A gift once given to the demi-humans to foster peace, it can be wielded even by those of low intelligence. Sneered at by fools in the academy. So, I like this stuff because it does show like the Karian way of doing things was conciliatory in nature, and so they were just kind of taking down hostile elements through the power of friendship, as opposed to like the Golden Order form of conquest and subjugation. Although that might be more Erdtree than Golden Order, to be fair. Alright. Hey, Throw, nice to see you again. Do I know how many demi-human queens there are? I believe we can encounter 4 in the game. There's one in, like, the Mount Gelmir region. Another one by the Lux Ruins in Altus Plateau. Plus Maggie and the one next to Azure. So we're gonna complete our trifecta of getting the White Whales of Lore information items by getting that Winged Scythe for Crunchy. Then we're going to get the Shield of the Guilty for Teensith. And then eventually we'll get an Albinorc Blood Clot for Smuffton. Jonah's got to give Dark Souls 2 another shot at some point. Good luck with that. I'm not a fan, unfortunately. Oh yeah, and I guess there is technically the dead one in Fort Height, if we want to count that. Thank you, That Horns. And then D-Rock, nice to see you again. Read the Arterial Leaf. You think it's related to the Erdtree being fed with bodies. I've already read the Arterial Leaf, and I did talk about that in a previous stream. Alright. So we got the Hand Ballista, the Ballista Bolt. Wait, isn't the Shield of the Guilty around here, or is it in another castle? Is it on the outside? Not a Mongol dog. Oh man. There we go. Pissed off a flower. Golden rune. I was confident the Shield of the Guilty was in this spot. Let me do another pass through here. Shouldn't be. I don't remember where it is after all. And here I was talking up this big game. Maybe it's up there by the village someplace. Let's just get this side of grace since we're over here. Alright. Alright. Yeah, no problem, D-Rock. Appreciate that. Hey, Spoonbender. Welcome into the stream. If I could have my honeymoon in any area in Elden Ring, where would it be? Like a literal honeymoon? Oh, man. I feel like this not a lot of good options. Probably somewhere where I could get food, so maybe by the boiled prawn shack. If for no other reason than like having Blackguard make food. Caelid's so romantic. Which part of Caelid? It's a pretty big area. Lake of Rot. Liurnia for the stargazing. Wherever no one will try to kill you. Yeah, that's kind of what I was like trying to imagine. At first I was like, well, this is a cool beach area. Even though I kind of don't like the ocean and the beach, to be honest. Irina, maybe that's a bad choice because it's all like still super wet. Academy, that's a pretty good answer. But I feel like it all depends on if things are trying to kill you. The back area of the Three Sisters, that's not a bad idea. Noxtella is not a bad choice. If you hate the sun, for sure, yeah. Alright. So I think on tomorrow's stream, I'm going to go ahead and delve on into the, what's it called? Oh, no. I want to get Lutel. So I'm going to warp on over to the Church of Pilgrimage and then pick things up for tomorrow. So I'll probably get the Lutel Spirit Ash because it's got really cool lore. And then go to the Minor Erdtree that's like right above it. And then the Tower of Return or whatever it's called. Goth date because y'all hate the sun. And Galamoth is assuming the place is clear of enemies. If a place is clear of enemies, I think Raya Lucaria is a good choice. Stormvale might be a good choice. Anyway. Radahn has a lovely beach, kind of. And if you get hungry, you could eat all the corpses like a dog. Okay, so that'll be it for me for tonight, everyone. We'll be going live again at the same time of 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I might be late to stream on Friday, but maybe not. I will wait and see, so just kind of stand by for more info about that, potentially. So that'll be it for me for tonight, as always. I'd like to thank all of you for joining in. So, till next time, take care, stay safe. That's Protagonist out.